it's hard to finish things. It's hard to persevere. It's hard to have follow through. But when you do, like when you harness all your energy and you stop spiraling over a dude or a breakup or a little thing or what that person meant when they looked at you a weird way, or what, when you stop and you harness your attention and your energy, and you realize that ultimately you are the person who dictates how you feel and what you put your attention on and what your life is all about and what you think about, and you harness your energy and you put it on something that actually makes you better and expands you and takes you to another level where you impress yourself and whatever, that's the best feeling in the entire world.
Katie, let it out with Katie. Let it out with Katie Dalebout, enthusiast and curator of people and ideas you need to hear. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Katie Dalebout, and you are listening to Let It Out, the podcast with me as your host. And you just heard from today's guest, Alexi Wasser, who's my podcasting heroine and just a really cool person that I've been really excited to air this episode for a long time. And it was a really tough choice to choose an intro quote soundbite for the beginning because we had a 2-hour plus conversation. And Alexi's really smart and interesting and creative and sweet, and it was tough to choose just one thing to highlight at the beginning. But luckily, you don't have to choose for long because a very long, very tangential conversation with her and I is about to be in your headphones or on your speaker or in your car or wherever you're listening. But just prepare yourself that it's a very long conversation. We're two very excited, long-winded, only children, so prepare yourself for that. Buckle your seatbelt and just sit back and enjoy. I love Alexi. I love listening to her podcast, Love Alexi. I've mentioned it many, many times on the podcast that it's one of my favorites. But if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. And hopefully I'll do her podcast and get to meet her and have another 2-hour conversation with her, maybe on her podcast, and hopefully someday have her again on my podcast. But it was just a great conversation. We talked about everything from dating and relationships to creativity and career and what happens when we die and just all sorts of fascinating subjects. And yeah, I really just can't wait for you to hear it. One thing that we spoke about at the beginning is about vulnerability and feeling exposed when you do work online, such as a podcast or a blog. And that's pretty ironic because I end up sharing a bunch about, or maybe oversharing, about my dating life at the beginning of this episode. And one day in particular that I had gone on the night before I recorded this podcast with Alexi, which I recorded several months ago now. I think it was at the very beginning of the summer that I recorded this episode. It was when I had first decided to change the name of the podcast from The Wellness Wonderland, the vintage title, and have it be Let It Out. So she was a great first guest for that new direction of the podcast. And ever since, everything has been going really well with the new change in title. So yeah, thanks Alexi. Maybe she set things on a really great foot. But anyway, if you don't want to hear about me being vulnerable and talking about my silly date and my thoughts and feelings on that, skip to like 45 minutes in and we get more into talking about Alexi and her life and not as much about me and my dating and me asking for help. But I left it in, and maybe you think it's interesting, maybe you think it's funny. I was going to edit it out, but then I was like, why am I doing that? That's silly. I want to be really authentic and real, and I don't know. I just left it in. So hopefully you enjoy it. But if you don't, that's what the 15-second forward button is for. Anyway, I want to get right into today's episode, but first, shout out to Amazon. You know Amazon. You love Amazon. And if you want to support the podcast, a really great way to do it is to just click on the link to Amazon through my website, through the show notes of this podcast, and Amazon will toss a few pennies my way, and it doesn't even cost you anything extra. So thank you to Amazon. And if you want to support the podcast, that's one way to do it. Another way that I say every week is to leave a review on iTunes. It's so helpful. And what's even more helpful is to subscribe to the podcast on your telephone listening device. And listen, subscribing is actually so helpful, and you could just think of it as giving the podcast a high five. As soon as you press that purple button, you're just giving me a high five, and I really appreciate it. So that's great. And then also tell a friend about the podcast. If you found it interesting, if you found it to be helpful, if you learned something, if you feel less alone when you listen to it, if it makes your commute a little bit less boring, send it to a friend who also might enjoy it. That is so helpful. Anyway, I am so excited that Alexi did the podcast. I am so happy for you to hear this episode. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you again at the end of the show. I like to pretend that I'm in the Nerdist studio when I'm really just in my bedroom, but we're doing
We're both in our pajamas. I'm not wearing a bra. I'm wearing a white slip. I'm newly single. I'm feeling a lot of feelings. Let's talk about everything.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yes, let's talk about all of the things. I'm so excited. I have copious notes, as you say.
Oh, God. I'm
using all of your lines. I'm just living my life with the Alexi Wasser.
Oh my God. I can't believe it, because I didn't even know that I said living my life a lot until I had that guy Fernando on my show. And yeah, and he like copied my he turned, I don't know, I'm becoming a caricature of myself through Fernando's eyes. He like really illuminated me to me. Anyway, go on.
No, I love it. I've been excited for this all week. I'm so excited to have you. I was thinking about, well, first of all, welcome. I'm so glad that you're hanging out with me. And like I told you in the email, like, you're just the coolest person that I know and I follow. And so I've been following your blog for years, and I have no idea how I originally found IMBOYCRAZY, Alexi's blog, for everyone listening. But I must have been following it like a really long time ago, and I loved it. So I donated to it because I was like, yeah, I'm a blogger and I want to support other girl boss bloggers. So I donated,
I didn't realize that.
And I forgot about it until like a year later, and like way far, many, many months later, and all of a sudden I got this email from this Alexi Wasser person, and it just, in the subject line, it said, BTW, thank you. And I was like, what is this? Like, and I'd kind of forgotten like who you were, and I didn't remember like donating, and it was you just being like, thank you so much for donating, that was super nice. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a nice person. And so I like got back into your work, and I just kind of forgot about it. And then more recently, because you're not blogging as much now that you have your podcast, right?
Yeah.
So more recently, I heard you on your friend Sophia Amoruso's podcast, Girl Boss Radio, and I didn't put two and two together that you were that same person that I loved your blog and I donated to your blog and you emailed me and you were super nice over email. And I was just like, oh, this girl is so cool. Like, I want to have her on my podcast. I got to check out, you were talking about you had just started a podcast. I was like, I got to check this person out. And I had no idea that you were the girl from IMBOYCRAZY. Like, I recently put that together. So it was just meant to be, and I'm so glad that you're here living your life with me. And it's gonna be great.
Oh my god, I feel like I'm a control freak, so I'm gonna try to like lead this thing, so I don't want to do that, so I'm just gonna like follow your lead.
No, as you say, this is a love letter to you, and you can just sit back and like be in the guest seat and just relax. It's like getting your hair cut or getting a massage. You just get to talk about your thoughts and feelings, and I get to be the one, as you say, to figure out how we land this plane in a while from now. So yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe I can't believe I have so many catchphrases, and I can't believe you know all of them, and I had no idea that I gotta like up my game with all my phrases. Oh, but thank you for your care package. Okay, well, oh god, this is me wanting to take the lead. I was gonna say, well, Katie sent me a care package.
I like it. Take the lead whenever you want.
Just for a second, just because Katie was supposed to do my podcast, I'm like talking to the audience I don't know exists, but I know they're there. I'm almost positive that they're all out there listening. So Katie was in LA for a second, was going to do my podcast, and then I don't know what happened. I think I had a job and I had to work, and things got shuffled around, and we weren't able to meet up in person, and so she still has to do my podcast when she gets back to LA. But in the meantime, Yeah, you sent me this amazing care package. I guess you flew to LA with and then took back home with you and then sent out to me again and I couldn't believe it. You guys, it was great. Katie is the greatest person on earth. It's like there's a Sephora pearl face mask and like your
Oh
book,
yeah,
which
I
is really
forgot about everything in there because I like made it so long ago.
oh my God, I feel horrible. No, it's like
No, stop. No, I love. Have you ever read that very cheesy Five Love Languages book or heard of it?
no, what's that?
It's like I feel like you might be into it actually. I haven't even read it. I just like know a lot about it because it's like these different love languages of how people receive love or how people like feel loved. And some people it's through like words of affirmation and they need like people telling them that they like them and that they're pretty all the time. And for other people it's like random acts of like service. So it's like doing the dishes for someone or like taking out the trash for them or I don't know, like stuff like that. And then other people, it's like gifts and that's how they like give love and receive love. And I think that must be mine because I love giving people like really funny, thoughtful gifts. And so I was so excited when I was coming. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to give you a Katie's favorite things. That's like Alexi's favorite things. But because you always talk about how you wear eyeliner. So I was like, I'm going to put some eyeliner in there. And then I was giving you like stuff that I really like, that face mask. And I think I actually listened to your podcast that week and somebody was on your podcast and she was doing like a hand mask. And I was like, that sounds really cool. And I wanted to find you one of those, but you'll have to settle for the face mask.
No, I prefer the face mask. Who was doing a hand mask? Oh,
Remember
who was
that?
doing
On your
yeah, who
maybe I just like heard it weird, but I swear that's what she said. She like came to your podcast and
Oh, yes. No, it was Erin McGathy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has a podcast too called This Feels Terrible.
Oh
Oh God,
yeah.
it's really loud out here. Can you hear that in the background?
No, I don't hear anything.
Good,
Is
good.
there
That's how
like
I like it.
construction?
Perfect. Yeah, there's some kind of construction weirdness happening. Oh, and I just used my chapstick that you sent me. So there's like, and the only thing that broke that was so annoying
Oh
was
yeah.
it says that you have a fragrance, which is like incredible that you have like your own perfume, and that spilled, and I'm so annoyed. But whatever, like because
I
I
know,
was,
what a bummer. That's okay. When I
yeah.
come to LA, I'll bring a new one and I'll bring you like a travel size purse one that you can keep in your purse for dates.
What?
And at least it's like all natural, organic essential oils, so it's not gonna like taint all the other stuff in the package. But what a bummer. When you sent me the Snapchat, I was like, oh no, I hope she didn't cut her fingers. That looks really dangerous.
Oh no, I got through it. It was all good. I'm stronger for it. But what do you want to know? What are we talking about
Oh
here?
my
Are you
gosh,
sing?
so
Are
many
you single?
things.
Are you single by
I'm
the way, or are
single.
you
I
married?
went on a date last night. No,
Oh
I'm
wow.
definitely not married.
With who?
Um,
Did you meet him on an app or anything?
yeah, I met him on an app, which I'm always like really embarrassed about, and I always just feel really like giggly about. And then on the date last night, he was like telling everyone that it was our first date, which was
Oh,
like,
that's cute.
you think it's cute? Okay, I mean, I don't know. I was just like every time he said that, I would just like cringe and be like, I want people to think we've either like we're like really close friends or like we've known each other forever. Like to know that it's a first date, I just feel like is like awkward and goofy. But he was very into telling everyone that. And then it was really fun. He took us to like this cool place and that I hadn't been before. It was like this cool wine bar and it was great. We were like having a great time. And then like it's one of those like community table situation places where you like share a table with a lot of people.
I know all about community tables, and I love being a single girl going to a restaurant and like sitting at a community table because there's this restaurant called M Cafe in LA where I used to sit at the community table and then just like, pretend I was on dates with men that I thought were attractive who were sitting across from me. But on a date, a real date, it might be annoying to be at a community table. What happened with you?
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny because the other people around the table started to like, it was actually kind of cute and fun, started to like cheer us on because he said to one person like, oh, it's our first date. And then they were like watching us and like watching every interaction. And I just felt very like
Exposed.
like on a podcast basically, which was probably good for me because I'm more comfortable when I'm recording my conversations apparently. But then like another couple came up and it was like the same, that couple told the other couple, oh, they're on a first date, and it just
Oh
became
my God.
this like
That's
whole
so annoying.
thing, and it was just pretty goofy. And then we like went to another place and went to dinner, and it like I was able to like chill out. But that first moment of like it was just a lot of community happening.
That's like I don't know. I feel like, yeah, if you're already cringing, don't forget about that feeling. But also, like, that's a bold first date. Like drinks at one spot and then going to dinner at another. Like he must already have a crush on you.
Right? I know. And okay, he picked me up in his car, which I felt like it was like 1974, and I was like making fun of it to my roommate, and she was just like watching me leave like she was my mom. It was really
Oh my
funny.
God.
And
Wait, you let him pick you up on a first date?
I
You have to
let him pick me up on the first date. So even though we met on an app, like I know him, like this is like so exposing right now. But it's okay. He like basically didn't know what podcasts were, so he'll never listen to this. But he was like, we have a bunch of mutual friends and we knew each other. We met in college, but we just didn't like remember that. Like I knew he looked really familiar, and he was texting me whatever, and he had asked me to hang out several times, and I honestly couldn't, and like also wasn't really into it at first. And I was like, no, I can't. I'm traveling, which was true. I was gone. And then he like asked me to hang out another day, and I had like a book party here. And I was like, literally, I can't. And he thought I was making up an excuse. And I was like, no, I have this thing. And I like told him the thing that I had. And then he came. That was how I first met him. So then I was like, all right, I can get in this car with this stranger since I've already met him one time before.
Because he's not a murderer. You're alive still, and we're doing this podcast, so it's great.
I made it.
And by the way, talking about exposing yourself, that is such a tricky thing with like being a person who, you put yourself out there. You have your podcast, you have your blog. I can totally relate. I'm going to try to nip this in the bud because I'm already going down a bad path. But I just got out of a thing. I was dating somebody for 3.5 months. 4 if you count us chatting on the app that we met on. He was like, I met him on an app. It's so
on
weird.
Raya?
Yes, I met him on Raya, and he's totally lovely and wonderful. But it ended, like I was kind of uncomfortable the entire time we were dating because I just felt like he's not my normal type. And I just feel like this is a little bit off, but he was so nice and we did have fun and it was great on paper. But like, have you ever dated anybody where it feels off?
Yeah, I mean, I was really rooting for this relationship with you. It sounded so good. I feel like I've been like along for the ride on this because you've been talking about it here.
Oh my
and there
God!
on your
Oh my
pod.
God! Oh wait, what did I say that you heard? Because I forget what I say and I forget like the impression I give. Like what?
Okay,
what
this is
do
good.
you
I
know?
can be your focus group of like all of the things. I can be your fangirl because I literally listen to everything you put out. I feel like I know that he was Spanish or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that he was not your usual type. He like worked out and stuff and was like a really healthy, not your usual type, but he was really nice and you guys had a lot of fun together and got along. That's what I took from it. And it seemed good, but it also seemed maybe like you weren't super thrilled and something seemed off, which was like, well, I want her to have all of the things. And if this guy isn't all of that, then no, thank you.
Oh my God, that's the narrative that you got. That's the impression I left with you. Because oh my God, I had no idea. This is very interesting. Okay, thank you. Because I can't see. I'm so in it, and I'm so like, living my life. But anyway, so I did I have like 5 podcasts I've recorded, like that are in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So I could put out 5 podcasts, and then put out the podcast that I recorded day before yesterday, put that out 5 weeks from now. But my point is, day before the guy and I ended our relationship on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very mutual. And then I recorded a podcast with my guests on Wednesday, and I've told myself, Alexi, please don't overshare. Just keep this to yourself, like, because I was still processing and I was like spiraling, because even though it's better that we're not together because it wasn't right, I was just like, oh my God, I had like it was just like crazy. I just overshared. And I actually listened back to the podcast I recorded with a guest on Wednesday about the breakup and everything. And it's really funny, and it's really honest and it's so raw, but I'm afraid it might not be nice because all I do is talk about how uncomfortable I was during the whole thing. And I didn't really highlight how like, he's a great guy and we did have fun. Like, and I'm terrified and I don't want to edit it and I don't want to not put it out. And I think I am going to put it out and I don't know when, and I hope he doesn't listen. And it's like putting yourself out there into the world on a podcast or a blog or whatever it is you do. If you're putting yourself out there in the world, it's like such a balance. And I don't know what to do. I think I'm just going to put it out and I hope he doesn't listen. And I don't know if I should put it out next week, or if I should put it out 5 weeks from now, or what do you think?
Well, I mean, I totally understand. I feel like it's a slippery slope. Like, as I'm speaking, I'm always like forgetting the fact that, oh, wait, we're recording this and it's not just Alexi and I here, whoever and I here. And you start to second guess the stuff that you're saying, which you wouldn't in a normal conversation. That's like the one weird thing about podcasts. And I think it depends on if you want to be really like authentic and raw with your listeners and like let them in your life. It would make sense to have it come out really quickly, but also like to protect yourself and to protect him. I think I would probably say like wait the 5 weeks or 3 weeks or whenever you feel like putting that one out. So then that way there is some space and you can like take a beat. And if you decide, 2 weeks from now that you want to change it, you still can. It wasn't already out there. And then just give it some time, because who knows, maybe something will happen or I don't know. But I'm no expert.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like only been no. That's a great idea. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna put out all the other ones I recorded. Yeah, I'm gonna put out all the other ones that I recorded previously, and then put it out there, and then I'll try to save it in the intro by just being like, "Hey, I was processing. I went through a breakup. This is how it is. He's wonderful. This is all for the best." And
that's perfect.
but this is me spiraling in the moment, and I apologize if it sounds crazy or misleading or whatever, because I just, oh my God.
Yeah, that's
anyway.
Perfect. That's the best of both worlds, because in the intro you can say all the things that you wish you had said that in the moment you forgot to say, which is perfect. That's perfect. Right. I feel good about this. I feel like we hashed something out. I know how you feel though about like you were being raw and real, but you forgot to say some other things looking back that you forgot. Like I had to talk at this thing that I wasn't thinking I was going to have to talk at, and I thanked a bunch of people, but I forgot to thank like the main people, and afterwards I just like still in my mind when I think about it I like cringe, because I know it's like a different example, but I know how you're feeling when it's like I forgot to say this one thing, the other stuff was true. But anyway, I don't even know if I'm making sense.
No, you're making so much sense. And another thing about the internet and putting yourself out there and social media and blogs and podcasts, people will read into things that aren't even about them. Like at the beginning of this podcast episode that I did where I was processing and spiraling 2 days post breakup or 3 days post my breakup. And the relationship was only like 3.5, 4 months. No big deal. But, he mattered. I care about him. Anyway, is that in the episode, I refer to sex that I had with somebody. Like I go, oh, I had sex. I was dating a guy and blah, blah. And I said something about like the kind of sex or how I felt about the sex I had with that person. I wasn't even talking about the dude that I just broken up with. I was just referring to like past sex in my life. But now I'm terrified he's going to read into that I'm afraid he's going to read into tweets. If I tweet something, if I do a video on Snapchat, if I post something on Instagram, you never know when people are going to be like, oh, that's probably about me, or we just broke up, or this is about this, because people will reframe stuff for themselves and read into all this shit we put out there on the internet. And sometimes they're right, and a lot of times they're wrong because they have their own stories they're projecting on a shit. So it's just like, I guess you can't control all of it, and it's just whatever. But I know I'm just like worried. I'm like, oh God, some of the things I was referring to vaguely weren't about him, but if he thinks that they are about him, he will be offended. But I was just talking about some other faceless man from my past in general. Anyway, so what else is going on?
Well, it's okay. I mean, that makes sense. I feel like the thing is, you just can't control it, and to filter yourself and not to be and you're so good at this, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about anyway, but you have this amazing ability of being so authentic and raw and real and relatable. And honestly, Alexi, you've helped me so much to be able to see myself through you. And you're just like this big sister figure to me as a fellow only child that I feel like I never had and always wanted to be able to like talk about this sort of thing with, even though this is the first time we're actually speaking. But I feel like I've talked to you a million times because you're like whispering in my ear all the time through your podcast. But I think that for you to filter that sort of thing just because of how someone may or may not perceive it would be a disservice to yourself, because you probably feel really great when you're like yourself and raw and real and living your life, and also to like me and your fans and your followers. So I don't know, that's just my thoughts and feelings on that.
Oh my God. Okay, thank you. That's crazy. I can't believe it. It's so weird when you realize that maybe somebody that, is listening. I
It's
can't believe
me.
you. I know it's you. I can't believe it. It's like the most flattering, lovely thing. It makes me feel like I
Yes,
don't
this is a
know.
love letter to you. Just soak it up. It's going to be amazing. I was nervous about this conversation, not because I was nervous to talk to you, because I just knew you would be down to earth and cool and a nice person. So I wasn't nervous about that. But I just had so many topics and questions that I wanted to ask you. And people were submitting questions in my Facebook group for you. And I was like, I can't, these are great people, but like, I just want to ask her my questions because I'm a selfish only child. So hopefully we can get through all of mine and other people's.
Oh
And
my God, ask me everything. Tell me
all right,
what you want to
let's
know.
let's do this. So, okay, so the first thing in my copious notes, I want to know, how did you first get into talking about love and relationships and sex? Have you always been fascinated by those topics? Why did that become the focus of your first blog, I Am Boy Crazy, and then the focus of the podcast? What draws you to those topics?
I think okay. I had a very chaotic, bizarre childhood. I love my mom. She's like my best friend. But my upbringing, especially with my dad, my dad's like a misogynist, mean guy who's like 20 years old or 25, maybe 30 years older than my mom. Uh, he he's like a kind of he's like 80 now. He's like so old. He comes from a different generation. And my household, I had like an angry misogynist dad, but he was also kind of like girl crazy. And my household was very oversexed. Like my parents were always having sex, even though they split up when I was 6. And he would just like the way my dad would talk about women, and he was girl crazy. So I had this like weird skewed view. And I talk about this on my podcast about how I didn't even realize there's a thing called like the male gaze, where like we see ourselves through like the eyes of men, like make movies and dominate our culture. Like, so anyway, I just saw myself through the eyes of like my dad, and how he perceives women. So I guess like I don't know. I don't know if that links to what I'm going to say next, but like I've always been boy crazy. Like I've always been like kind of I probably like maybe I don't know. I always felt like my dad didn't say I love you enough. It's such a boring, like nobody cares story. But I don't know if this is separate from my childhood, but I think I sought like validation in men, and I sought like I sexualized situations a lot with guys because I wanted them to like love me, and I like pillow talk, and I like intimacy, and I'm a romantic. But it was like I think there's some kind of like love and sex addiction or some kind of like in me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've always just been like boy crazy, and I've dated a ton of guys, and uh been in like always could kind of like subconsciously wake up in the morning being like maybe today's the day I'm going to meet the love of my life, or like or and I love romantic comedies, and I love this sounds so stupid what I'm saying, but whatever. And I'm a
No, I love
romantic.
it.
I'm just like such a
Me
romantic.
too.
Yeah, and it's like not just me. So I'm like thinking, oh, this is just like I know it's not just me, and I know that like whether it's my childhood or just our culture, that like uh, I think our culture is like fall in love, get the boy to like you, fall in love, be in a romantic comedy. But then when you're married, it's like everybody loves Raymond, and then men hate women, and then it's like over.
Yeah, and then
It's like
yeah.
it's such a weird thing how they paint like in the marriage you're trapped, and it's horrible. It's like
Yeah.
it's so confusing. But all I know is that like I felt there's so many different tangential pieces I'm trying to throw into this one thing, but
Tangential conversation, just
it's
like you. I love
just
that
like
word. I feel like I
that's
don't say it right, but I
it's
learned it from you. You're
you.
expanding my vocabulary and my love life.
Oh my God, I love that. Well, I just felt like for a long time when I was younger, uh I've always been kind of very girly, and I don't like bodily function humor, and I am very feminine. But then when I was younger, I would always like kind of dress like the boy that I wanted to attract. Like I'd wear like dark denim or corduroys and tennis shoes and hoodies and t-shirts. And I just kind of like because I was kind of embarrassed and shy to be a girl because I was kind of raised thinking that women were uh just dumb or not great just because my dad's a misogynist, and I like looked up to him, and I kind of started to see women through his eyes. So where am I going with this? I guess in order to take my power back, subconsciously, I was in a relationship, and I was this boyfriend at the time we'll call him Mike because that's his name. I was so insecure. I would always tell him these stories about my past relationships, with other guys, I guess,
Is
because
this
I
the
want.
drummer?
No, there are lots of other drummers whose names all
Okay.
started with J. I've dated like seven drummers of bands whose names start with J. And my father's name starts with J, but he's not a drummer; he's a photographer. But like I started telling this ex-boyfriend of mine named Mike about all these experiences I had, and because I've always paid attention to every single detail. I've always like overanalyzed stuff and just been hyper aware of what's going on around me and noticing feelings and all this stuff. And I would kind of share my stories with this guy, Mike. And he was the first boyfriend who was like, these are great stories, these adventures, these sexual escapades you've been on, these romantic things. You need to write about this shit. Like make a blog, write a
Cool.
blog. And so he kind of encouraged me to like write all these stories. And then it kind of like made me uh come into my own skin, get confident because I got validated from like people who are reading the blog. They're like, "We love it. You're so forthcoming." And I kind of in it, I would exploit men kind of. It made me I was able to like talk to guys and do due to the day interviews with guys. And I had like safety behind a camera, but then also it was like me turning the tables on men, like exploiting men and asking them questions and putting them under a microscope because that's what people do usually with women. And
Mhm.
I don't know. So I'm all over the place here, but I feel like, yes, I'm always, even to this day, hoping to fall in love. I want a certain type of love. I want to feel, I don't want to be codependent. I want to be, but I want like magical, all-encompassing, exciting love, like Carrie tells Petrovsky that she wants at the end of
Yes.
you know what I mean? I want this like exciting two whole people coming together who inspire each other and it's passionate and the sex is amazing and we're like best friends. We're on a cloud. It's amazing. And I've had that before. Uh, and now I want a more adult version of that. I've been like this forever. I've always been boy crazy. I've always been romance crazy. And and now I'm way healthier. Now I love women. I have more female friends than male friends. I don't sexualize everything. I'm not like, but yeah, so it's been like this weird journey I've gone on from like a weird daughter of a weird man who didn't know any better to now I'm like, work through it and I've turned it into like something that maybe helps other people and other people can relate to. I hope any of
Yeah.
that made sense. I know I just like
No,
ranted.
that was amazing. It made so much sense and it is helping so many people like me. And it's so beautiful to see the full story of that and how, our childhoods and our experiences and our sometimes struggles can become our art. And I think you are such a great example of that through not only your blog, but through you do a million other things, which I want to talk about too, but your short film, which I'm obsessed with, and even, your podcast now and everything else you create will all be a byproduct from the stuff that we went through, when you were younger or just experiences. And like, there's this great, I think it's a TED talk or something where, have you seen it where the guy is like, your dog dies, make good art. Your car crashes, make good art. Someone dies, make good art. And it's just about like whenever you have these experiences that are perceived as negative, turning them into something creative. And I think that you do that so perfectly.
Thank you so much. That's even like to anybody out there going through a breakup or whatever, like, this is not a soul-shattering breakup I'm experiencing, but I've been doing all this like work on myself and listening to all these self-help things because I was listening to all these self-help books during in the relationship because I felt it was off, but I wasn't being honest with myself and I was trying to just not be reactive and I was trying to just try something new that went in a different way and I just thought, "Oh, okay, I'm going to give this a chance even though I feel so uncomfortable because he's not my type or uncomfortable because it's not progressing or feeling like what I think it should feel like." So I was just so I listened to all these self-help things and now I'm still listening to those self-help things. Oh, my point is I I'm so happy. I'm realizing that like it's just this discomfort it propels you forward. Like even this breakup after this little thing, it's like, oh, it's just transitional. Like it doesn't have to be like the pain is wonderful because now it's making me like I'm doing your podcast or I've been writing stuff or I'm making sure to. It's just actually breakups are so helpful, because you have to like they shake you up and they like make you. I mean, if you don't just sit around and binge eat and stay in bed all day, they like they force you to just go like keep moving forward and be like, fuck, I've just got to readjust. I've got to recalibrate. Anyway, are you there?
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just like nodding over here. I think that I agree so much. And they can be like, my last big breakup was like a shattering situation.
It
And
was? How long were you guys together?
like almost 5 years.
Oh my God, I've been one of those. Holy shit, what happened?
I mean, it was good. He moved away to California, actually.
Oh my God, is he
And
single? Can I do? I'm just kidding.
anyway, like you say, he moved away, but then we were like trying to do that, and as you say, it wasn't a real relationship when it was long distance, and then it just like mutually ended. But I didn't realize that it was like my first relationship with everything, so I didn't realize how much I was immature in the relationship because I just didn't know what I was doing. And I had one of those moments during the breakup or since being broken up where I was like, oh, okay, I can either like play out all of those same things and the next time I'm in a relationship, or I can like learn from this and be more mature and like see myself, because I can look back at that relationship and use it as like a mirror to get to know myself better, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Listening to your podcast has helped me a lot, to be honest.
Oh my God, thank God. Thank you. Yeah, it's weird. It's been Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oh yeah, it's only been 5 days. I'm already like, oh my God. I even said to the guy when he came over to my house and it was really nice, whatever. It was such a cordial, nice breakup in person. And I was like, I don't want to go on Raya. I'm such an asshole. I was like crying, and then I was telling him, I'm not crying because you broke me. It's just that, like, we try people on for size, and it's heartbreaking because it's like, and then it doesn't work, and you just have to keep your heart open and like keep throwing yourself out into the world, and it's just, you mourn the death because you go into a thing hoping it'll work, and then it's, you just have, and then if it doesn't, you just have to pick yourself up again and keep going. But the asshole part of me was like, I was like, well, now who should I date? A mogul? I was like, who should I date? I'm not going back on Raya. Should I go back on Raya? And he's like, I don't know. And he was just like sitting there, like helping me figure out who I should date next. I'm such a monster. And I'm like, don't you tell people you broke up with me. This doesn't count as you breaking up with me, right? Because I was feeling the same way. And he's like, I can tell people, you broke up with me, you dumped me if you want. And I'm like, no, I'm just saying. So I was like coming at it from a place of ego. But anyway, I immediately, like an asshole, jumped right back onto the dating app Raya, where I met this guy. And like, because it's like the gamification of these weird apps, it's so addictive. And so like, and I just thought, oh, it'll make me feel cute again. But and I'll be flirting with like weird random strangers. But yeah, 5 days later, and now I'm like, this is great. Being single is amazing. The whole world is in front of me.
Yes, the world is your oyster. This is great. I have more career questions, but we'll circle back up to those. Let's stay in dating because we're here now. So I want to know, this is perfect that you brought up Raya. What are your thoughts and feelings on online dating? I know you love Raya. And
I don't love Raya. But
of the apps, it's the coolest, right?
Well, it's not that it's the coolest. It's just the only one. It's just the only one I've ever been on because, not to sound like a jerk, and I've got to stop using these mean words to explain to define myself. But I had never been on an app. I write about love and dating, or at least now I talk about it because I've not been blogging, which I might get back to. But I'm just so obsessed with podcasting right now because I feel like that's the future. Yeah. I don't know. It's like nobody cares. Blogging is right. Don't you feel like blogging is over?
Yeah, I stopped doing mine. I just do the podcast.
Yeah, it's so weird because I feel like instinctually I was just like, nope, we're done here. Like just kind of like a relationship where you're just like, no, it ran its course and
it was mutual.
Yeah, it was mutual. Oh my God, I feel like there's more to say. Okay, whatever. I'll go back to the breakup thing where I'm gonna.
Yeah. So I was just saying about Raya that I don't know what I was saying. I just want your thoughts and feelings on online dating, period. Because I was the same way. I was like, I want to be able to say I never have been on an online dating app because I just was addicted to the story. Like I want to like meet someone on a plane or like find their credit card and then call them and then they're so grateful and we get married or like, I don't know. And I just was like, I never want to be on a dating app. And then when you mentioned Raya, I was like, oh, okay, Alexi's on a dating app. My roommate has been telling me to get on Bumble forever. And so I actually applied to get on, or whatever you do to be on Raya. And I put you down as my like referral or whatever, because I'd like heard of it from from you, and I
I
didn't
love
get
it.
on. I'm on the waiting list or whatever.
Oh, whatever.
So
Fuck
I
those
went
guys.
on. So I went on to Bumble, but
Well, here's the thing. I don't love the idea of a dating app, but even during my last relationship, which was with the guy I met on a dating on Raya, okay. I thought if I write about dating, if I talk about dating relationships and blah blah blah, and I have to know
try
what
it.
it's like to
Yeah.
to be on an app. It's just like part of the conversation. I need experience with it. And all my friends were like, "Fuck off! It's normal now." Like the whole stigma attached to dating apps is like more dorky than a dating app because
Yeah.
that's like old school. It's like people being like, "I don't understand Snapchat." Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's
I
like
have a flip phone.
yeah, I have a flip phone. I don't, this is crazy. It's like, okay, you're dating yourself, and like, here's the deal. Like, dating apps are just like part of it, and uh, and the thing is, yeah, everybody's on them. So I got on Raya because my friends, people I know, created it, so I didn't have to pay for it. They were just like, try it out, and so I'm on it, and it's just another platform to meet people, and but it is weird. I don't love it either, and here's why. It's because I feel like I don't know, the last guy I dated, I would never have met him or knew he existed if it wasn't for Raya. Like we have no mutual friends on Facebook, even though Facebook is dorky too, but like to not have any mutual friends on Facebook just felt insane. Like
Yeah.
we didn't really have like any mutual friends on Instagram either, except for like Champagne Poppy or whatever, like Drake or whatever. Like I don't know, like which isn't real, but we have like we like legit knew nobody in common, which is insane. But here's what I think. I am open still to meeting a person on an app again, for sure, because it's just another platform to meet people. But this time around, because I've met a lot of cool people actually, but this time around, um, I'm going to be more open about being like, dude, if we are in this and we're like into it, like we're gonna have like a little moment where we like delete the app together, like over dinner or like in front of each other. So
Yeah.
because it's like weird, the thing that sticks with me that freaks me out is uh you you know that the other person and you also are on this thing, and who knows how many people you're talking to, and you have this like active app where you're open to flirting with people or for people to flirt with you, and it's just like kind of uncomfortable, and then having an awareness of that, even though like you could meet somebody at Whole Foods, you could eye fuck some dude like wherever, and vice versa, just knowing that, okay, no, but this is a specific app that I'm completely aware of, or you met me and who knows how many other girls you're talking to. It's just like it's one more thing to like kind of like feel insecure about, but in the end you have to trust people. Like the bigger picture is like you have to communicate, you have to trust somebody. If it bothers you, just like say it, pick your battles and be like, don't say it like week two, like, are you going to delete your app? Or like, who are you
Right.
talking to on there? Because it's like, that's the same thing. I was struggling. Like, I feel like a lot of my podcast episodes early on the Nerdist one on Love Alexi, were me struggling with being jealous about what a guy might be doing on Instagram.
Yeah, I
You know,
remember that.
as far as I feel like I kind of like I'm past that now because I was like, who knows who he's DMing? Because I was dating a guy and I accidentally saw like what photos he was liking, and he was liking like all these like really scantily clad young girl photos, and it just like got under my skin. I just saw it and I didn't like it, and then it stuck with me and I was jealous. So now what I've learned to do is not look at that, not go down Instagram K holes or rabbit holes because all my girlfriends do it. So it's like I'm just the one saying it. Like, if you have a crush on a guy, chances are, if you're a woman, I know this is what I do, or I've done, which I have to stop doing because it's linked to the dating app discomfort. Like, you want to control a situation. So if I have a crush on a guy and he posts a photo, I have to not click on who's liked it, which of those people are really cute girls who have liked it, and then go to their page and be like, which of their sexy photos has he liked? Because like I know I'm sounding crazy, this weird Instagram behavior, but all my girlfriends and and women I just know in general, we are very capable of finding extra time to do these intense things. And I don't know if you do these kind of things, but it's just a recipe for disaster. So I've got to like I just have self-control, and just if you're dating someone, just trust them and deal with what you're actually being presented with from them, because and then if something goes wrong, you'll find out about it. Like
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but yeah, the dating app thing. So yeah, if you're with somebody for 2 months or whatever, and you get to the point where you're like, oh my God, like I want to take it to the next level. Now nowadays we just have to like communicate better. You have to rise to the occasion. The conversations change. You've got to be like, hey, we met on this app. Let's talk about the app. So it
Yeah.
just means you have to like rise to the occasion and be an adult. And it's really difficult, but that's just what the culture calls for now, I
No,
guess.
that's such a good point. I think I need to definitely be, and I think I'm getting there, but just getting over the stigma with the app and just being like, oh, okay, this is how we met. Just owning that. Even last night, I was like, don't say that we met on an app. Like, I'd rather it be like a friend of a friend or just whatever. But there is something liberating and cool, I think, about like what you were saying when it's like we have no mutual friends and you would have never met this person another way. And I've met so many awesome people on the internet through doing what I do online and through
Yeah.
like right now, like I live in a completely different area of the country than you. We would not be speaking right now, but we met online and our relationship's strong, you know?
We're flourishing.
Yeah, we're
absolutely
flourishing. Yeah. And anyway, so I think I just need to be like, I've met so many amazing lifelong girlfriends online. Why can't I, of course I could meet a guy like that as well, and just getting rid of any stigma and just like embracing the apps. Maybe I'll get off the wait list at Raya and meet someone really cool. Who
You're
knows?
not even missing anything. It's fine. I feel like Tinder, there are a lot of good looking people. I was like on Tinder for like 4 hours and then I fell asleep. And then I woke up the next morning and my friend had like screenshot me and they're like, it's like, oh, you're on Tinder. And I was like, oh my God. And I got all embarrassed because this is before my willingness to like dip my toe in and not be self-conscious about being on an app. But yeah, Raya, whatever. Tinder and
And I
Bumble is
like, but
fine.
yeah, I like Bumble ever since I listened to the founder on your friend Sophia's podcast.
Oh my
She
God, the
sounds
founder
amazing.
of Bumble, the founder
Yeah,
of
you have
Bumble.
to listen. I think it was
What
like last week or something, or a
what
couple
did
weeks
she
ago.
say? What was why did she start her thing?
Oh, you have to listen to it. It was a great
Okay.
episode. But she used to
Oh,
work for Tinder, and then she's founded Bumble. You have to listen to it. It's
oh my
fascinating.
God. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
and what else was I gonna say? Oh, something about I don't know. I think it's okay to say to the guy you're dating to be like, let's just not tell people we met on an app, or let's just say we had mutual friends or whatever. And it's just like whatever you want it to be. But I've had friends who that are amazing people. Like a lot of guys I know have met and gotten married to women that they met on Tinder because like it's just crazy. So it's just like another way to meet people
Yeah, it's just like
and
introduction services, not
oh,
really dating, you know?
and then while I was dating my last guy, I was going through a little moment where I was like, I don't know, I feel hopeless about love, and what does it all mean? Can people be trusted? There's so many different avenues and portals to like flirt or cheat or blah blah. And the guy I was dating and his friend, because we all went out to dinner, they were so much calmer than me, and they were like, because the dude I dated was such a good guy, he's a very trustworthy, nice guy, and they were both like, yeah, there are a lot of different portals, but like it's so much easier to get caught. You know what I mean? Like you can just pick up some,
Mm.
it's like it's just so much easier to get caught. Like it's like not you don't have to worry about it. I feel like if something bad's gonna happen, you'll find out about it. I don't think you'll be duped. That's also what intuition is for. And like I don't know, you just have to like trust. And also another good point was we have the option. Like people are together a lot. Most there are a lot. People are for the most part good. I would like to believe, and they choose to be together. There's no reason we don't need anything from anybody else. I could be single forever. Go, I have my career. I could go, adopt a baby. Just do everything on my own. I don't need to be with anybody. And the same with men. Uh, so nowadays it's like we live in this time where when two people come together, it's because they're choosing to be together. It's like it's really is a choice. If somebody doesn't want to be with you, they're just gonna be like, peace, I'm out of
Yeah.
here. Give a
Yeah.
fuck. Like
Yeah, totally.
so I just have to have trust. I think I learned a lot in my last thing about trusting and whatever.
Yeah. Well, something that you said in your most recent episode that I wrote down in my copious notes, it really, maybe it was a couple episodes ago. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. But the thing I wrote down, which really hit me hard when you said this because I related to it so much, is you were saying that doing the work and challenging yourself to date in general, and just even though it is uncomfortable sometimes, and staying home and your jammies and binge eating and picking at your face and watching My So-Called Life, which you said all of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I was just like, story of my life. But forcing yourself to actually go out and see yourself through someone else's eyes and do the work of dating and being in a relationship, even though it can be challenging and scary at times. How do you psych yourself up to do that and continue to do that when you don't feel like it, because you know it's good for your own personal growth and self-development? And what words of encouragement do you have for the people listening and myself and all your little sisters that follow you out there and want your advice on that?
Well, like, first of all, I mean, you have to want to go out with the person who's asking you out. There should be like something in your inside you that goes, oh, they're so cute, or I like them. Oh my God, I'm so excited, and have some kind of butterfly thing. And you shouldn't. I don't know. Uh, I wouldn't want to go out just because he asked me and I have to go, or I should be doing this. Like, you should always just like feel compelled to like spend time with that person. Like, even though I felt discomfort, it was a lot of it with the last guy I dated. I still like kept wanting to go out with him because he was so handsome and so nice, and it was fun to go on dates, and it was like I was just very attracted to him, and I thought he was a really good person. He was very smart, but I was very insecure. I felt not cute, and I just felt like I just had the worst insecurities, and I feel like I learned to like hold my head up and make eye contact more, and I got more confident because I was like, cool, I'm not just hanging out with an artsy guy. I feel like I can date like this is all just stories in my head, by the way, but I'm just telling you insecure stories in my head. I feel like, oh, cool. Now I've like walked through my fear of dating a classically handsome guy that normally I would think wouldn't be attracted to me. And so I would be very insecure. So I kind of like, it's like the ape, like evolving like into like standing up or something, like evolution.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm like that poster of evolution where I'm like staring at my feet, hunched over, and being like, I don't know, I'm a weirdo. I'm an artsy weirdo. And now I'm like, no, fuck it. I'm like a woman, and I'm good looking, and it's cool, and I'm smart, and like it's all good. And this whole relationship like upped my confidence, and my level of trust. And I feel like I'm gonna do it better, and be more get closer to what I'm after in the next thing. And it upped my outfit game, because I feel like I tried harder with outfits, and I tried to be more sexy because I got into my femininity. Anyway, but my laundry's done. Anyway, okay. But what I would say to girls is, first off, don't go, anybody, girls and guys. Yeah, there has to be the little thing that goes, I'm excited about this person first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is like, what was the other part of the question? It's like to do the work. I mean, like, I think it just starts there. Like, don't go out with some bonehead or some person just because you feel like you have to, or they asked you. Like, never do like that. But what was the crux of your question?
I don't know. It probably just wasn't a really good thought out question. I just wanted to say that I related to that part where you said that sometimes I think the easier thing to do, even when you are excited about the person, is to be like, well, I could just stay home where I have my sweatpants and my food and my Netflix, but no, I'm going to do this because I am excited, and just reminding yourself.
I do get it, because I would run into things where it's like, oh my God, like if he's not texting me, or if he's not calling me, or if it's not adding up to what I want it to be, or if I'm uncomfortable in the not knowing. Because even before, I guess, when you stay in a relationship, because I was asking myself, why didn't I get out of this thing? Why didn't it end a month prior, when I kind of wanted to pull the plug because I felt like something was off? And I realized it's because I had hope. I still had hope, and he still had hope. So while you're like letting something unfold, and while you're dating someone, there are going to be moments of like gray area where you have no control. Like, that's the thing. Like, you don't know what the other person is thinking, and it's too soon to, and maybe forever too soon. You'll never know what somebody else is thinking about you. You'll never exactly know what's happening. And in the beginning of a relationship, you kind of just have to like go with the flow and trust, and like see where it goes. And that's uncomfortable if you want to control everything. I'm an only child. You're an only child. I think control goes hand in hand with that. We like it our way, and we want to know, and whatever. So, and then also, and also if you are excited about the person, feeling confident, looking your best, like being brave, all this stuff you have to do when you're, when you put yourself out there, it's like, it's exhausting sometimes. We're just like, oh yeah, because sometimes you don't have to look at how insecure you are, or like, or what your things are if you're not reflected in someone else's eyes. So
Yeah, that's what you said. That's
that's
the
that
money line.
that's the whole thing. So it's like, and then all of a sudden you have to communicate too. Like if somebody's like, what does that mean? Or like, or if you say something and it lands a certain way in another person, they don't get it, or maybe it's a shitty thing you said, or whatever. You have to like explain yourself, or you have to like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, being with another person takes more work, but then the payoff is better because then you learn how to, I mean, I don't know. Like it should also feel easy. I'm realizing now, like I wrote this down today. Um, oh yeah, and it's nicer to leave your heart open. That's what my therapist keeps saying. Because like, I don't know, closing off and shutting down is just like such a, not to speak in frequencies, but I don't know. And also you can't I feel like the payoff is greater to like just leave your heart open and be with another person, but you can leave your heart open and be single too. Like you don't have to be with anybody. That's also a choice. That's what my therapist said. He was like, some people decide they don't want to do the internal work in a relationship because it's easier not to, so they don't. Like, and so, either choice is fine.
Mm-hmm.
One might be more difficult than the other, and one might be lonely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard Louis C.K. saying on some podcast, on Mark Maron's podcast, which was like, yeah, like you have to be brave and trust a person with your heart, and there's no control, and like who knows what's going to happen, and that's like terrifying, and but then the other alternate is just like closing yourself off and being by yourself, and that can be really lonely and miserable. So like, I don't know. These are options, I suppose. But anyway, I'm rambling.
No, that was great. And you started to touch on this,
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
a little bit in what you were just saying. And I wrote down this that I wanted to ask you about too, which is something I ask everybody about. And we talk a lot about on the show about feeling insecure about your body and body image. And I was wondering, have you ever felt self conscious about your body or struggled with body image? And I mean, I feel like every woman has it at some point. But when it comes to dating specifically, how has that come into play? Because I know for me that I feel I have lots of body image issues. It's been like a big thing for me. And
You're so
so,
beautiful. Oh my God, but you're so, even if you were 500 pounds and whatever, like, and whatever, like you're still beautiful, but like you're like a classically
oh
beautiful
my gosh, stop. You're so nice.
babe.
You're so beautiful and you have the most beautiful big eyes. I can't wait to meet you in person
Oh my
and
God, thank you.
see your amazing beautiful big eyes that I always hear about
Oh,
and
you're so,
see.
well, listen,
um
the body issue thing. Well, for one thing, before I was just gonna say, my last thing, I was so squirmy, and I was doing all this internal work, and that's all fine and good. But then I realized for the next thing, it should feel like you're coming home. It should feel familiar. I mean, it shouldn't be anything, but for me, I feel like what I learned is trust my intuition, and it should flow with the person, and it should feel cozy and familiar and easy. And it wasn't like that, but I guess I learned in my last thing. Anyway, but the body issue stuff. Well, I have a few things. Yeah, of course. Oh my God, I was like addicted to speed when I was in high school because I wanted to be like a 90s supermodel thing, and I wanted to be like really like, to me, my idea a long time ago was of like perfection, which is not real, was like, you know, uh, heroin chic and all this stuff, and
Yeah,
like,
I know. I was
and
like, I just wanted to look like an Olsen twin, which was
yeah,
like not my body size, my body's natural shape, and it was so
yeah.
hard to like come to terms with that.
Yeah, and it's like, and now it's like Kim Kardashian, curvy, like big butt. Like Sophia Amoruso has like a beautiful big butt. Like it's like so beautiful. It's so cool, and she's like little shelf, plump, great butt. And I'm like, oh my God, I need a butt. And I think,
She's so cool. I'm so starstruck that you're friends with her. She's the
oh my
coolest.
God, that's so funny. Oh God. Well, so I think I don't dislike my body now. I actually like love my body. Because first off, it's like gets exhausting to just like be down on yourself all the time. And I don't know. I feel like I like what I look like better naked sometimes, and even wearing clothes. And it's just, I don't know. It's like if somebody's having sex with you, they're so happy to be there. They're so happy to be there. Don't worry about it. And confidence is so sexy. Like in this last relationship, I'll keep referring to it. In this last thing, I tried to fake it till I made it. So I was like faking it to make it. And I bought into my own thing where I would just like hold my head up high. I felt like the shit. I knew that I was like the cool girl dating this guy. Like he thought I was cool and I thought he was like handsome and there's so much more to it. But like, so I was like, cool, I'm just gonna like embrace that and just feel like a badass so I can just fake it till I make it. But it's it just confidence is so sexy. That's like one of the sexiest things. You could be like whatever body type, the confidence aspect, and that's all in your mind. Like you just have to like shift your way of thinking and just not beat yourself up and be kind to yourself. Like you have the most you have such a great Instagram page. I was like lurking on your Instagram page last night and like liking
Aw.
everything and all these things. It's like, yeah, just like be kind to yourself. My therapist tells me to do a thing where because people are so critical and mean to ourselves, it's insane. And like he says, imagine like that little voice in your head beating yourself up and being so critical of your body. Imagine somebody saying that to like the little 5-year-old version of you, and like you just hold the little 5-year-old version and be like, oh my God, no, you're enough, I love you, you're great, like stop it, like you're fantastic. So just, I don't know, like my therapist, this is a little corny for me, but he goes, carry a picture of yourself and you're a little version of Alexi, and just like tell her you love her or something. It's a little too cheesy for me, but I get it. But you're allowed to exist. Like your body is awesome. Somebody is lucky to stick their privates inside your privates. Like, and confidence is 1,000% of it. If you can like worry about having an orgasm, like, he's probably worried about himself and the size of his dick or something, or just in general, if you're talking about how you fit in your clothes and not just like sex stuff. Like I know that just find clothes that work for you, that make you feel sexy. Find a great pair of jeans. Don't try to cram yourself into like some kind of outfit that you think you should look good in, and you're trying to, but it's just not working. And then you go out into the world and you're like punishing yourself in some outfit you don't feel comfortable in. Because I know I'll do that with jeans sometimes. I'll be like, these jeans are too tight because I had too much pizza. I shouldn't be wearing them, but I'm punishing myself by wearing the jeans still so I can remember not to continue binge eating pizza or whatever. So I'll do these weird eating disorder, bizarre things, I think, or maybe I'm just a woman who overthinks food and jeans. But anyway, confidence, just relax, be nice to yourself, and just push those mean thoughts aside because they're just thoughts. And but I know that dating this hunk, went to the gym, it and really having a crush on him and liking him so much, and wanting to look good when I was naked around him, that kind of propelled me to be like, I'm going to go on a hike, or this makes me want to do lunges and do the stairs. I mean, I only did that like once or twice in our 4-month thing, but yeah, sometimes relationships are fun because they motivate you to like want to be good for someone else or like want to be your best, and that's kind of a sweet thing to have somebody. It doesn't have to be sickening, but or unhealthy, but it's like kind of nice to have somebody that you're like, I want to be my best for this person. They make me want to. They inspire me to be greater than I already am. Like that's kind of nice. But yeah, you should just like your body. Another thing my mom and my grandma would tell me, and I know I'm rambling, but I'm caffeinated.
No,
My,
it's great.
my mom and my grandma would say, why would you expect your body to do anything for you if you're so mean to it? Like
Mm.
if you hate the size of your thighs and you're like, oh my thighs, I hate them. It's like, well then fuck you. Why should they change or evolve for you? You're being so mean to yourself. Like just like yourself, and then if you want to want to change, or you want to do some work, yeah, like go on an hour-long hike a day, you know eat more salads, but don't cut out bread, it's too great. I don't know, just like,
Yes, preach. We're
yeah,
so on the same page about all of
yeah,
that.
just make healthy, better choices, but be kind to yourself all the way through. And I feel like getting older, you just get to a point where you're like, I can't worry about this anymore. I'm exhausted. Like this is just too much to think about. But anyway, yeah, you've got a great body. Relax. Like you're because we're all just gonna get older, and everything's gonna fall, and we're all just gonna die at some point. So you might as well just be like, it's just like such a waste of time. Like focus on your podcast, focus on writing, focus on other stuff, and like, you know, it's there you go.
Dude, you're so cool. I love all of that. I think when you start to appreciate your body for what it can do and not just how it looks, it makes some of that stuff minimize a bit.
Yeah, and I think exercise is important too, because I'm a person who lives more intensely in her mind than I like. I don't really, I kind of like disconnect from my body. Like I love my body. It's fine. I'm thin and I'm whatever, but like I'm not I'm like weak and I'm not like fit. So because I just like identify more with my brain and all my thoughts in my head. But sometimes, when I actually like go on hour-long walks or walk around Los Angeles all day for hours and hours, like I feel and I or if I exercise or whatever, and my friends force me to exercise with them, I go, wow, this is amazing. I had no idea. I feel so much better. All these endorphins, I'm happier. I feel connected to my body and it makes me feel sexier. It's like insane. So, you're inspiring me to exercise.
I don't even exercise, but I like those long. I wish we were in Los Angeles together right now and could just go on a long hike because that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
That's
well,
my favorite type of exercise is walking.
me too. That's my favorite hang session with a person is
Yeah.
it's like walking around a city and just being like, okay, let's stop here. Well, then we'll keep walking and we'll do this
Yes.
thing. And like, because it makes me feel connected to my body and connected to
The
the city
person.
and connected to people that I'm like passing by. Even if I go on a walk all by myself, like
Yeah, me too.
eye contact. Yeah, it's like sexy and it makes me feel like, yeah, I'm just, I don't know. It's just
We
a
should
nice
start a
feeling.
podcast called like Walking with Alexi and Katie or something.
Talking to Lexi, we'll do that next time you come to LA. We'll do like,
Yeah, we'll make Aristotle like ride on a little golf cart while we walk.
Aristotle, my producer, he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna do that. Aristotle's like, no thanks. But anyway, just
No,
kidding.
thank you.
Um, what else are you thinking?
Okay, well, I want to go back. Last question about dating, and then I have more career questions, and then we'll do the rest as quick fire questions because I don't want to like take up too much of your day. But one more question about dating, which I'm turning around on you because you ask some of your guests this sometimes. But one thing that I love that you ask is you say, okay, knowing me for the half an hour that you do so far as my cooler older sister that I love your podcast of,
Who should you date?
who should I date? Tell me about this person that I'm going to
How
date.
how tall are you?
I'm like 5'4".
Oh, I'm 5'11".
You're so lucky. You're like the prettiest, tallest model. Like everyone go look at Alexi and watch her
Ah!
movies. She's like the prettiest eyes, prettiest person. You're so lucky you're so tall. I would take that for a second.
Oh my, you're gorgeous. You can wear heels. You probably have tiny little feet. I wear size 11 shoe. It's insane. But okay. Who should you date? Do you want to get married and have kids?
Not for a long time, but
Not, not,
eventually probably.
not for a long time. God, this is a really difficult question that I sprang on people. I had no idea what it felt like to ask this question. Let's see.
This is good. This whole podcast can give you a good feel for what it's like to be in the guest chair on your podcast.
Yeah, I mean, God, you should date somebody who you feel that you trust. I mean, these are just like things that I want to. You should date somebody who loves your personality, loves your curiosity for life, is into what you're into with like, because you're into like, I don't know if it's spirituality, but definitely like affirmation and like self-help stuff and just and like kind of like searching. It seems like you're trying to live a really great life and be loving and searching for the best way to be and to be like because I'm sure it's all for yourself. You put it out there on Instagram, but it's like you're talking to yourself and
Oh, totally.
you
Yeah.
know, it's like you're so you want somebody who's like not sarcastic because I believe sarcasm is like unresolved rage. So you want somebody
Mm.
who like thinks, "Oh my God, I love my Katie.
Aw.
She's so ambitious. He should be he's going to be taller than you.
For sure.
You're tiny. Maybe your age or
Hope so.
older. Yeah, your age or older with his maybe he'll be a doctor, maybe he'll be a lawyer, but he's a good person that is trustworthy, who just goes, "Oh my God, my beautiful girl," and like
Oh my
and
gosh, I'm gonna cry. I can't
yeah,
stop smiling. This is so beautiful.
he might not listen to every podcast because that's a lot to ask of
That's good
someone.
because then we can talk about it more and we don't
Yeah,
have to worry.
exactly. But he like, but he is like just adores you
Aw.
and makes you feel safe and you respect what he does and you're just both loving and kind to each other. And what else? And he just I don't know. I think that's it. I mean, I've never met you in real
Oh
life,
my
and this
gosh,
is a
this is
long
the best day of my life. Just
ah,
hearing that. That was so
yeah.
amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you should never put up with bullshit. The funny thing is, I feel like, I mean, have you ever dated a mean guy or anybody who treated you badly?
Not really. Knock on wood.
Good. Like, I mean, because you want a lot for yourself and you probably have really good intuition. And I haven't either. That's why it's funny. It's like nobody I've ever dated was a mean or a bad person. it just doesn't work out,
Mm.
and sometimes I get annoyed or hurt or disenchanted. But yeah, I never date like weird Playboy Casanova creeps or anything weird. And you won't either. So I think it's just like you'll keep doing what you're doing. Maybe it's the guy you went on the Tinder date. How did you feel about
Bumble
the
date.
Bumble date? Sorry, Bumble date. So how did you end up feeling with this guy? Did you guys make out?
Yeah, we made out.
How was the makeout?
It was good. It
Oh,
was.
that's a no. Anyway, I can tell.
I don't know. It has potential. I don't know. I feel like I need to hang out with him again to fully let my intuition figure this out.
Do you? That's my question though. Do you?
I don't know.
I feel like everything I needed to know is presented in actually that's not true. I don't know. You're right. Sometimes you need to give it like maybe I think 3 months and
Yeah.
And I listened to this self-help tape or whatever. It's Bethany Frankel from Real
Oh
Housewives.
yeah.
It's so good. It was so helpful because it
I need
helped
to listen.
like
I wrote it down because you mentioned it in an intro to a pod, and I was like, I should listen to that.
it was so helpful. It's called I Suck at Relationships So You Don't Have to.
Great
And
title.
I love it because even during this last thing, which is my whatever point of reflection for this podcast that we're doing, but it helped me like not do all the old behavior that I've done in every other relationship where I like lash out and I come out. I just act weird. Like I'll be feeling a certain way, but then I won't communicate what I'm actually feeling. I'll I'll just act weird, or I'll send a weird, evasive, bizarre text based on a story that's not real, that the dude has no idea what I'm even talking about. Like in past relationships, I would go down weird wormhole spirals on Instagram, decide that the dude was in love with another girl or just a fucking creep or cheating or being weird, and then get mad at him, and then it would manifest in this other way where I'd be like passive aggressive and he'd be like, "What?" Like, cause he wouldn't even know. He doesn't know I'm up at 4 a.m. checking his Instagram.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that like all these stories that are not even true, like that are in my head. And then so I didn't do that in this relationship because I listened to Bethany Frankel's book and it's funny because she said the same stuff, like, because women do that and like and so I just like made sure not to do that. But then not doing all those things, not doing all the bad behavior and normal habits I fall into, I still felt unsettled. So then at least I was able to like look at my actual intuition as opposed to like the crazy chatter monkey brain um, stuff that is not intuition. That's just a whole
Yeah.
other thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm rambling again.
No, it's amazing. So, okay, I want to circle back up to a couple career questions and then we'll go to the quick fire questions, and I promise we'll land this plane
Yeah.
somewhat soon. But okay, so you have done so many cool things career-wise and creatively, and I want to know what has been maybe like one of your favorite things that you've done. You're the super talented, amazing actress. You've been in Girls, which I want to know what that was like. Do you have any favorite roles? Do you have any tips for girls who, this was originally going to be a bunch of separate questions, but I'm just lumping it into all into one. So like, do you have any tips for girls wanting to be actresses, bloggers, having a podcast that's so successful? You're also really great at being so yourself in whatever it is that you're doing, and I really admire that. So what advice do you have for people listening who want to have career opportunities and things like you've done so far?
Well, oh God, well, you think so highly of me. Thank you so much for being so nice.
I know, I hope I'm not sounding like your creepy fangirl now.
No. You're just so nice. It's like a really sweet thing. It's only great. Like, I mean, I don't feel completely fulfilled in my life and my career, but I know what I want to do and I'm getting towards that. Like my favorite thing I'm doing in my life, one of my most special things I've ever done in my life and what makes me happiest now are my blog are IMBOYCRAZY.com. Starting that just like changed my life because I took control of my life. I put myself out there. I was brutally honest. And then the
game changer, right? The
game
blog
changer
is a game changer, and
yeah,
the podcast really is, right?
yeah, it was a game changer for my life because all of a sudden I got this feedback from people where they saw
Yeah.
me. I was finally myself, and I was myself 100%, and put my face and had my face and name attached to it. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
pseudonym. And the response I got was so like validating. I was like, holy shit, like I'm accepted and people like this and being myself. I'm very specific, but also my being so honest, like it makes me feel less alone because all these other people are being like,
Yes.
I feel the same way, Lexi. Oh my God, thank you for
Hmm.
sharing that really embarrassing thing about whatever. Because so I just felt very like, holy shit, like,
And seen. That's how I
yeah,
feel. Like I relate to that all so much.
yeah, I feel like seen and like it's like a loneliness eliminator and it makes the
Yep.
world smaller and it's just I'm making a contribution and I'm part of the conversation. That was very cool. So the imboycrazy.com changed everything. I got offered I sold a TV show to Showtime based on I mean it didn't get made, but it's like I all of a sudden I have this separate career where I've pitched a ton of shows and sold them. And that's like behind the scenes stuff because a lot of stuff doesn't get made in Hollywood, but part of your career is like now I know how to go into rooms. I have great representation. I go into rooms. I've pitched shows. I've sold them. I haven't sold them. They haven't been made. Sometimes like things get made, whatever. It's it's just opened up this whole part of my life and kind of made me go, oh, I'm good at something. And then, I did my Boy Crazy Radio, which is like a call-in advice show for about 6 years. And that was just because I wanted to do it because I wanted to connect with people and I wanted to give big sisterly advice and I wanted to give, and I give good advice. And I know that nobody likes unsolicited advice. So I thought, fuck it. Like, people were emailing me questions because they thought I would give good advice like a big sister. So I thought, okay, how do I answer all these emails? How do I just directly connect to people? I'll do this call-in advice show. I like old-timey phone calls. That's very cool to me. I love the show Love Line with Dr. Drew. Anyway, so I did that for free, not making any money for 6 years. Every Wednesday, I made sure to like be a stable person. I took it so seriously and I changed and evolved with it because I used to be way more sarcastic and mean and angry, I think. And now I'm like, not that. I'm like not to say this about myself because it sounds like it can't be real if I'm saying it about myself. It seems
This is
lame,
your
but
love letter.
well,
Say anything.
I mean, I don't want it to be a love letter to myself from me, like signed by me. But I mean, like I've gone on this thing where it's like, yeah, I'm not a female misogynist. I'm not my dad via coming through me. Like I've become more loving and soft and just like not sarcastic. Anyway, but so and then I wanted to be I think perseverance is such a big part of it. And I've just been finding my own way. I've just been paying attention to my intuition, seeing what works for me, seeing how people respond and going towards like the positive response and like seeing and just trusting my instincts. And that's listening to your intuition. It really is. And being confident and perseverance is like a huge part of it because people give up and that's fine. I guess, we need people to give up because they don't want to do it or whatever and then but I'm still going. Like and then it's why the whole time I wanted to I've always loved talk radio. I've always loved Howard Stern interviews. I've always loved whatever. And I like brutal honesty and I love Joan Rivers and these are people I look up to or whatever. And uh and I dabbled in like stand-up comedy, but I was like, oh, it's kind of scary. But anyway, I knew as I did my podcast, Boy Crazy Radio, I was like, I want to be on a legit network. I want to be on the Nerdist network. I want to do that. And by the grace of God, I got that. And
So
it's been
amazing.
and I'm so proud of it. And it's like morphed into no longer a call-in advice show, but it's turned into something more adult. I don't want to be boy crazy anymore. I'm not boy crazy anymore. Like I'm an adult woman and I'm healthier. I'm not sexualizing stuff. I'm not making choices for the wrong reasons because I used to not realize what motivated my choices. Why did I want to make out so much? Why did I need validation through like love or pillow talk or somebody else liking me? Like I'm still a romantic. I still want to find a great person. But no, I'm I'm healthy now and I'm like I wouldn't let just anybody, I figure out what motivates my choices now. Like and I'm much more self-aware and making better choices for myself. So yeah, so I'm glad that I wanted the podcast to evolve into like a Mark Maron what the fuck thing or a Pete Holmes you made it weird
Yeah.
like conversation where I can just get to know people and I don't and it's no longer rooted in like love advice and dating all this stuff. It's about like the meaning of life and career stuff and being inspired and dealing with inner turmoil and spirals. And I just wanted to go deeper and expand and just get out of this like fine cubby hole for that I was in for a moment, but like just expand on a bigger level because I feel like not enough women, there are very few female podcasters, it's like dominated by men. And I wanted something that was like, what Mark Maron or Joe Rogan or Pete Holmes do,
Yeah.
like I wanted to be like the female version of that. And I'm still trying and I'm growing and I want to like, I have so many goals for myself and I'll like, with the acting thing, I'd love to be a series regular on a TV show. That's like a huge goal because I love acting and I've been on shows and it's really fun and it's a wonderful thing. But I also know that like a huge, like my Love Alexi podcast on the Nerdist Network is a very life fulfilling fulfillment thing for me. Like that is life fulfilling. Like I don't have to get paid for that. I would do it for free. I do it for free. I don't even have sponsorship yet. It's it makes me feel connected, like I'm making contribution. Uh, but the thing I don't talk about is I wrote and directed a short film that I acted in, and it's nearly done, and the score is being finished, and it's being color corrected by this amazing company that color corrected like Beyonce's Lemonade and all these shows and
Whoa,
SNL, all
cool.
this stuff. So that's almost finished, and I'm going to submit that to festivals. And I did that because I wanted to get a crash course in knowing all the intricacies of like, of making a film because I wrote a feature and I want to direct the feature that I wrote and act in it. And just like, so that's going to be another chapter of like, you know, because it's of going towards life fulfillment and challenging myself and like rising to the occasion and not being afraid and like doing shit because I want to be so lazy and just lay around and watch TV and text and be on Snapchat and like just be talking with my girlfriends and hanging out but I also I want to be proud of myself and I want to like be part of the conversation and keep uh getting better and like yeah and I feel like that opens up a world to like because I like talking to people who do shit and are accomplished and like inspire me. And if I want to talk to those people, like I want to be one of those people, and like
Yeah.
and I have so much shit to say, and it's like and I feel the best when I finish something. If I finish a script, I'm like, I can't believe I did that. It's hard to finish things. It's hard to persevere. It's hard to have follow through. But when you do, like when you harness all your energy and you stop spiraling over a dude or a breakup or a little thing or what that person meant when they looked at you a weird way or what, when you stop like and you harness your attention and your energy and you realize that ultimately you are the person who dictates how you feel and what you put your attention on and what your life is all about and what you think about uh, and you harness your energy and you put it on something that actually makes you better and expands you and takes you to another level where you impress yourself and whatever, that's the best feeling in the entire world. So like my whole thing is I want to write and direct and act in my own feature and then continue to do all the other things I'm doing and like and yeah and just but I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know. I'd like to fall in love. I'd like to have a kid. I'd like to move to the beach and have a dog and a cat and make more than one feature film. But I'm just like, these are the things I want for myself, and so these are all my goals. And the acting stuff is difficult because it's so out of your control. You have to all you can do is do your best to the girls or people who want to act. All you can do is prepare, learn your lines, memorize them, rehearse as much as possible. Don't go out and get wasted the night before. Get enough sleep, take care of yourself, moisturize, and just do the best you can. And then you got to leave it to other people because it's based on what you look like. If you're a match for the other people they hire, and they usually hire men first. So, and I'm very tall and I look very specific. So that's been a thing in my life. But I'm a I'm a very successful commercial actress, which is something I've done since I
Your
was like,
peppermint patty.
I mean, I've done that, yeah, like, but I've done like 100, like over 100 commercials, and like
It's
that's
amazing.
like that's like this whole other weird thing that's like, okay, you might not know where you've seen me, but I've been on commercials.
Everything.
I know I have. I mean, but it's like I haven't, and I know that. But it's like that's a weird thing because that's where a lot of the money is. You make more money doing commercials because that's corporate company money as opposed to like a cool indie film or like an episode of a TV show or whatever, even though the TV show might be way cooler. So it's such an odd business. Like so I just do a bunch of things that fall under the same umbrella that are all creative and I have no fucking idea what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna like continue to
It's going to be
persevere.
great. It's
I
going to be
hope
great.
so. It feels good so far. I love my podcast, and I don't know.
No, just like you were saying about the dude I'm going to be with, I just see all of this happening for your career, and I cannot wait to watch your feature film, and it's going to be amazing. I'm excited for all the content that you're creating, and I hope you never stop creating. And I totally relate to what you said about up-leveling yourself for the types of people that you want to be around, kind of like bringing it back to relationships. It's the same sort of situation where you'll want to be the person that you want to surround yourself with.
Yes.
And I think that in podcasting it even lends itself to that, you know, because it's been this great avenue for me to be able to have an excuse to have conversations with people that I think are really cool and awesome and doing interesting things. And I totally relate to your situation about transforming where you've been to where you're going, especially with the trajectory of your career and your podcast and versus the other show you did before. And this is actually the first episode. I'm changing the name of my podcast. This is the first episode that since I've announced that. And it used to be called, I had this blog that I started in college called The Wellness Wonderland. And now the show is going to be called Let It Out, which just seems better. It's more, I used to be really obsessed with health and wellness from a physical perspective as I was healing my eating disorder. And then I realized that it's not all about the food and healthy living and exercise. That's part of it and that's cool, but it's really about living this really wellness wonderland of a life, which includes relationships and creativity in your career and all sorts of things. So now I'm just transitioning to that, and you were such a perfect guest to have on for that first episode with that. And I love
Oh my God.
that
Thank
you're
you so
doing
much.
yeah, of course. And I love that you're doing lots of different things. And I've been feeling really down lately about feeling like I've been a master of none, you know, like I dabble in writing and I dabble in podcasting, but I haven't gone, and I do something else to make money, you know, and I haven't gone all in on one thing. But I feel like, and even I think on your most recent episode with Dan Levy, he said focus was really important.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn it. Like, but I've realized that if I really want to go all in, if I want to be on a Nerdist network someday, or if I want to have these experiences with my creativity, or even, you know, writing the book was a big thing like that for me, where I felt that completion with something. And I had to, my personality type from like Myers-Briggs really struggles with completion of stuff. But when I do it, it feels so damn good that I don't know, I'm just focusing on focus in my life and one thing at a time, because I think when you are an ideas person, like I feel like we both probably are, it's easy to do a bunch of different things at once and spread yourself really thin. But right now I'm focused on making the podcast the best I can make it, you know?
That is great. So, but you wrote a book, though. I mean, I mean, what it takes to like sit down and write a book, I don't even know. Like, you know, are you proud of yourself for that?
Yeah, I'm proud of myself for that for sure. And I love the book, and I like definitely think it's a cool, interesting idea. The weird thing with the publishing process is that I wrote the book like almost 2 years ago now, and it just came out April 5th. So it's just funny. It's not like a blog where, you know, you think about the things that you did 2 years ago. And I think you just like grow up so quickly in your early 20s. Like I'm a different person than I was like at the beginning of this conversation. You know, you just like are constantly changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back then I was like really focused on spirituality and meditation and wellness, which again, I still love all of those things and I think they're fantastic, but I'm just excited for the next book that I write and the next, you know, whatever I do. It's easy to like be more excited about the next thing. Do you ever find that too?
More excited about the next thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if my answer for that is, but I do want to say I have some stuff to say about the eating disorder stuff and food stuff.
Yeah.
And also, you wrote a book. Jesus fucking Christ, you wrote a book, and you're gonna write another book, but you wrote a book, and isn't your podcast successful? I feel like you have had such consistency with it. There are a lot of episodes.
It is. Yeah, I've been doing it since 2013 when there was no Serial, so nobody knew what podcasts were.
Yeah, no, it's like be proud of that. Like, don't be, again, it comes back to like be kind to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, and like, you know, and now you know what you want to do, and if you're going towards it. Like, why? yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah,
You're the
you wrote,
best.
you
You're
wrote a book and you're doing a podcast and the whole eating disorder thing. Because when I was reading Lena, I was like, I've been listening to Lena Dunham's, You're Not That Kind
so
of
good.
Girl.
Yeah.
It is really good. It's sometimes I have to be in like it's a little moody for me sometimes where
Yeah.
it's like so intense and I get that intensity because I have that in me. Uh, One of the things about the last guy I dated is like, he had no darkness to him, which is great. I'm sure he has his own stuff but I can get moody and introspective and it can be a little bit dark sometimes, but I can snap out of it real quick. But I need somebody to understand that. And so it feels weird when somebody totally doesn't get that. But anyway, and the whole thing you're talking about like you're not doing enough, master of none. It's like so many people are walking around. That's the majority of people. You're just talking about it, feel like a fraud or like or they aren't even like examining their life. So it's a really great thing that you're not only are you examining your life, you're looking at yourself, you're figuring out what you want for yourself. Like you're also putting it out there and making and like which inspires other people to look at their own lives and go, God, am I doing what I want to be doing? Am I focusing? Am I happy? Am I proud of myself? Am I being too hard on myself? All whatever. So just take that in for whatever it's worth.
Mm.
And the eating thing is in the Lena Dunham book when she was there's this chapter and
Yeah.
I was like walking I was like I don't know why I have to say where I was when I was listening to this chapter, but I was like walking
I do
home.
that too, by
Yeah,
the
it's
way.
like
Maybe it's an
yeah,
only
it's
child thing.
maybe it's an only child thing. I heard it was like I don't know, it like means we're on the spectrum or something, but I think
Probably.
somebody was just trying to be mean to me. But I was walking home and listening to that her chapter where she's listing everything she's
Yeah.
eating and I used to do that too and I could totally relate and I just hearing her read her old journal entry of her food diaries really it was so boring, it was so exhausting and like realizing that I had done that too.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my God, is this what it's like?" I mean,
Yeah.
it's nice to know we're not alone in our eating stuff and because my mom and I used to compare like it'd be like the subconscious thing where like I'd be like, "I today this thing and this thing." I'm sitting on this wooden chair and it's like making noise. Anyway, but my mom and I would like compare food and what we would eat and it was such a weird sick subconscious thing where we like why would we do that? Why would we like both we would just our conversation for a second would just be like, I ate this thing and then I had two pieces of that, and then I had this thing, and then my mom would go, yeah, I had this thing and this, and it really is so twisted. Like if that I'm gonna put that in a movie and like highlight that moment between a mother and a daughter, not even realizing how sick and twisted it is that they're both listening to each other.
Yeah.
Basically talking at each other about what they're eating. It's just so boring. It's boring for you. It's boring for boyfriends. It's boring for friends. Boring for everybody listening about all that shit. And to it's just so self-indulgent. It's like I have it. I had it too. I'm not being mean about it. I'm just saying I'm just trying to like
Yeah.
slap that way of thinking out of everybody's mind frame. But and I noticed that I actually lost weight when I stopped caring about what I was eating. Now I like eat pizza and I like don't worry about it. I have
Intuitive
a
eating.
yeah, I just eat whatever. Yeah, exactly. I don't even have I don't even label it. It's just like, yeah, I eat whatever I want to eat, and it's better to be healthy, make healthy choices. But sometimes in a pinch, I'm like, I'm starving. I'm having that piece of pizza, and I don't beat
Yeah.
myself up over it
It's
because
amazing.
it doesn't matter. And also, all the worry around it, I feel actually like makes you hold on to weight. And if you're just like happy and running errands and keeping busy, and like sometimes I feel like if you're so busy, you forget to eat because if you're so happy and in your own life and excited about what you're doing and keeping busy, and you don't put all your attention on food, you'll forget about food. And then also, if you eat a piece of pizza or you have a churro or you're like eating when you want to eat bread, whatever, it's like just don't give a fuck. And it actually doesn't stick to your body. It's like less serious. It's like a whole mind fuck thing. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And also like men don't care and it's sexier if you're like if you have a butt or if you have thighs or whatever the deal is like it's like more fun to fuck a person who's like cozy where you can like hold on to them. It's like stick thin stuff that's for other women and gay men and not even gay men. It's like it's just for a certain kind of it's all in your head. It's like just eat what you want to eat, buy a pair of jeans that fit so you don't have to fucking freak out. And it's just all this like self-obsessed stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not self-obsessed because I'm like talking about my relationships and myself and spinning out on my other self-obsessed bullshit, but the food thing, just like it's like stop. Not
Yeah.
you, but just in general, it's just too much.
Yeah, everyone listening, and throw away the goddamn clothes that don't fit because they just make you feel bad about yourself,
Yeah, or just
and you
like
don't need them.
or just like put them up in your closet, and then one day you'll be like, oh my God, they fit now. That's so weird. I forgot all about them, and now I have like this free pair of jeans I totally forgot about. Like, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
take a breath and
Or
relax.
they
It's not,
won't, or either way, it's okay.
yeah, it's not a big deal, and it's like nobody gives a fuck but you. Everybody else is on their own trip, walking around. Like all that matters is that you like yourself, whatever size you are. It's like that whole confident thing. Like
Yeah.
that's why I was so happy in this relationship that I actually got to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm beautiful. Like I'm just so sick of like being mean to myself. I'm just gonna like gonna look him in the eye and stop apologizing internally about myself. Oh no, I'm this, I'm that. Oh no, oh God. It's just like, oh my God, enough. I couldn't do it anymore. And then I started feeling good, and then the relationship ended. Oh my God, just kidding. But yeah.
But you learned a ton.
I learned a ton. I learned to listen to my intuition, that I'm a babe who can date hunks, and that I learned what I definitely want. I definitely know what I do want because I didn't get it in this last thing. And I don't know. And that's fine. Everything's all good.
Yeah.
Nothing bad happened.
Totally. So I really want to ask you my signature questions that I ask everyone, and we're going to just do these quick fire style to get through them. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are your morning routines? Any few things you do when you wake up in the morning that affects how the rest of your day goes?
What do I do? I masturbate. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even do that enough anymore. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I'm in a lull. I think I need to get back to being more sexual. Just and now that I'm single again. Okay. Let's see. What do I do in the morning? I used to have a really bad habit of grabbing my compact next to the bed and like looking at my face and then like overanalyzing it. And then my therapist said, "Don't do that. Only look at yourself in the mirror if you're going to be kind to yourself, not scrutinize yourself." So that's a habit I had to break because I'd be like, "Oh no, I have a pimple. Oh God." Ah. Like, so what do I do in the morning? I lay around. I grab my phone like a robot. I refresh constantly all my stuff, my Snapchat, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter, my dating app that I'm back on now and completely addicted to, which is a bad habit. I always think that's really bad when you're dating someone and then you guys both wake up in the morning and then the dude just grabs his phone and just or his computer and just gets on it. That's like so unromantic, and that's a sign. I don't know. I get out of bed. I'd make a pour over coffee. I draw a bath. Sometimes an Epsom salt bath or a bubble bath. Yeah, and then I like pick out my outfit and put my foundation on, my Makeup HD Forever foundation, and my mascara and my eyeliner. Also, yeah, and then I hit the road. But I love coffee. I'm addicted to coffee, and also dating this guy made me want to wear eyeliner. That's why I started talking about eyeliner because he thought Olivia Wilde was so beautiful and he said that she had eyes like I did. And I asked Aristotle, my podcast producer, I went, do you think I have eyes like, do you think I kind of have eyes like Olivia Wilde? Like, and he went, well, you don't wear eyeliner and you need like smoky makeup on. And I was like, what? So all of a sudden I started wearing.
Oh, that's so funny.
I know. I started wearing eyeliner in this relationship and like dressing a little bit more sexy and feminine and getting into like my femininity and like wearing crop tops more and like fun, flirty skirts. Because I just wanted to be like, I wanted to feel sexy with this hunk, so that was kind of cool.
Aw, that's really cool.
I didn't compromise myself. Let me make that clear. Anyway, I embrace femininity in a powerful, cool way.
Yeah, femininity as a feminist.
Yes.
So, what about on the other end of the day, your evening routines? What are some of the last few things you do before you go to bed? Anything you do to relax or wind down after like a long, busy day?
Oh my God, we're in a drought, so I don't want to say I take another bath. But what do? I don't know. I've been in a bad habit lately because post breakup, it's only been 5 days. I've been going to bed without washing my makeup off and watching Felicity or Old School.
I love Felicity.
Oh my God, I love Felicity and I love Old School 90210. But now I've hit season 5 and Brenda left, and I'm like, bye, I'm out of here. I'm not into this anymore. But I've just been like, oh, thank you. We're illuminating my bad habits. I have not been washing my face, and I've been like watching TV till 3 a.m. And surfing the internet and refreshing my apps, which has got to change. Normally it's like an Epsom salt bath, and taking my makeup off, moisturizing, listening to, yeah, I guess like listening to podcasts and learning. That's usually what
That's
I'm
cool.
usually trying to do. Yeah.
Okay, two questions about that. Do you have makeup wipes? They're like a game changer as well.
Yes. Oh my God, the makeup, I use Neutrogena
Yeah, just keep them
sensitive.
by your bed because in that way, if you like really don't feel like getting up, maybe that would be good.
Katie, I'm still, that's what I'm talking about. I'm still too lazy. I have them right next, I have them right next to the couch because I know that like I can't even make it to the bed. Like, yeah, anyway, but yes, I have those. I love them
Okay,
when
good.
I use them.
Just checking in on that. Okay, the other thing, do you journal ever?
Oh my God, yes. That's and like I started a journal about my breakup and the journal you sent me, but it smelled too much of your perfume. I
Oh
couldn't handle it. It like
no.
hurt my head, but
Oh
like
no.
because the perfume spilled, not because it wasn't great perfume, but it was just like
Yeah.
it's. But yes, I journal. That's like how I deal with it. That's how I like, and I totally journaled. I about all of this. Yes, that's my
Cool.
favorite. By hand with a pen, so all the emotion comes out of my funnels its way out of my arm.
Cool, cool, awesome. Maybe there'll even be an exercise in my book that will be good post breakup that can help you, I don't know, with your thoughts and feelings. It's such a great tool for creativity, I think. So, yeah, have you ever done the Artist Way morning pages?
No, what am I supposed to do? Tell me, I'll do it.
So it's the first tool in my book is based off of this, and you have my book now, so you can
Yeah,
see.
I'm
But
holding it. I'm holding it right now.
oh,
What page?
cool.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what page, but in the beginning of like the tool section, because my book is 55 journaling exercises, like prompts and tools. The
Yeah.
beginning is kind of like about that and more about me. You can skip that part and just go straight to the tools, but the or anyone can and you, but the first tool is based on The Artist's Way, which is this book by Julia Cameron where she has people write 3 pages of stream of consciousness, just writing front, back, front in the morning, where you just get out all of your thoughts and feelings and you talk about like the weird dream you had or like the fears you have. And the really interesting thing is when that starts to happen, you start to self-soothe as you go down the page, and it might start off as like everything is terrible or yesterday was terrible but today is better, and you'll see yourself like start to self-soothe. And my exercise in the book is similar to that but a bit more guided and directed with some certain questions. And anyway, it just is a good practice that I feel like, since you're such a feeler like I am, I just feel like we would be kindred spirits with journaling too, you
Oh
know?
my God, that's like I'm looking. I have one, two, three, four. I have like piles of journals. I'm like, it's
Oh,
crazy.
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing
I'm
in the
not
whole world.
surprised.
And
That's
I
so
was
cool.
yeah. So and I actually I have the you got me 2 journals. You got me the really great like there's a brown one and the yellow
Oh
one
yeah,
that
the
kind of talks.
therapist one. That one's
Yeah,
funny, right?
that
That
one's
made me
funny.
think of you.
But I'm all like, get out of here! I've got things to say.
I
Like I'm still like
know.
you're in my way here. But yeah, I have that open right now and your book right in front of me. And you're so right about self-soothing and also like that's such a good point. I'm gonna get back to that because I used to keep a journal by my bed and I would do that, and it's just not the same trying to do it in your phone because it's like the act of actually like writing
Yeah.
is part of the soothing factor. And yeah, the feelings. It's I like that. There's some kind of meme on the internet or just quote where it's like, it's a blessing and a curse to feel
Yeah.
so many feelings or whatever, like feel things so deeply because yeah, and I say this on my episode that I'm scared to put out in the next few weeks, where I spiral openly and process embarrassingly openly on my podcast about my breakup. But dating someone who can't relate to darkness or depression or whatever, feeling deeply in a intense way, frustrated me a little bit because I would say like to him, I go, you try to empathize, you don't understand, and it's hard for you to empathize with moodiness and depression because he wants things to be very happy and he goes to the gym every day and like, I'm sure he's very complex, whatever. But I was annoyed because I was like, my go-to statement would be, you reap the benefits of art created by people
Yeah.
who make the art because they're trying to fight through their darkness or they're trying to find a way out of whatever it is they're struggling with and pain or depression or moodiness or internal struggles. Like that's just like when you're saying like this happens, make great art. This happens, make great art. Like, yeah. So like movies, books,
Hmm.
whatever, like all this shit for the most part, I would say, generalization, is coming from somebody's need to create, to work, to fight through, you know,
Yeah. And I will
intense.
say too that sometimes you have to be ready to feel the feelings, and there's other times where I just want to cope. And in those times I want to enjoy somebody else's art, that can be just as cathartic for me.
Oh yeah.
Watching Felicity and feeling her feel her feelings,
Oh yeah.
than me, because I'm not ready to, I don't want to journal. Like sometimes it's like, ugh, I know I need to feel that, and I feel like pregnant with something I need to process, but I just don't want to right now. And that's okay too. Sometimes we cope and sometimes we feel, and coping is just as good, and it's fine. But eventually you're going to have to feel it and maybe make art with it, but definitely feel it and probably do something creative with it. But at the same time, watching other people's creative stuff can be just as cathartic. And anyway.
No, I'm so with you. Yeah. And that's why for a long time I stopped blogging, because I was like, I don't want to share my personal stuff. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to invite strangers into my stuff. Like, I'm still processing. I don't know what I'm feeling. And also, I just don't want to put it out there. And then maybe it would come out in a different way. Like now things come out apparently in podcasts or in, writing film stuff, so it's interesting. Yeah. It's an ebb and flow. And you also can't be when you're a creative person, I've learned you can't be so hard on yourself when you're not creating, and maybe you are just coping, or because sometimes it's just like, well, I'm not creating, but I'm going on a long walk and I'm like, things are percolating and I'm processing stuff, and I don't even realize that I'm processing stuff that I can use later. Like, so you need that time that in the interim, because that's part of it. Like,
yeah, it's like what Pete Holmes always says, you have to live a life worth commenting on. I always think of that. Like, sometimes I'm not creating actively, but I am by going out and getting life experience and getting material, so to speak.
Oh yeah, I love that. I'm writing that down in the journal you got me. You have to live
a life worth commenting on.
Oh wow.
Okay, so let's land this plane, as you would say.
Yes.
For doing our quick fire questions. They're really fun. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. So, favorite color?
Purple.
Favorite day of the week?
Sunday.
Favorite hour of the day?
4:00.
If you had a daily uniform, what would it be?
Oh my God. What would it be? Oh man. God damn it. Oh shit!
You're friends with so many stylish people. You're friends with Sophia Maruso. You're friends with the BB Dakota girl.
I am so cool.
You have the most amazing style.
It would probably be like, oh my God.
I feel like it would be like a cool leather jacket.
Let me answer the goddamn question. Oh my God! It would be I don't know, probably a pair of tight black jeans that are a little bit, like, you can see my ankle. It's a little ankle exposed, like high water tight black jeans, a little bit. Maybe high waisted tight black jeans, and I'm talking a real high waist that covers my belly button. And then white Keds with no socks, but I'm actually going to be wearing hidden socks because I don't want my Keds to get gross, because I love white Keds. I love them. And then I don't know, either a crop top if the high waisted jeans cover my, I don't know, or like a thin sexy t-shirt and you can see my black lace bra through it, and and then maybe a leather jacket, maybe a great I need a better leather jacket. I need to get a new leather jacket.
I feel like you have a cute one. I've seen you in.
I'm so sick of it. Yeah. I need a new one.
You heard that here. If anyone from any company has a cute leather jacket, send it to Alexi, and send me one as well. We'll have twin leather child jackets. We'll
have twin All Saints leather jackets that fit us like a glove, because I feel like the ones I have right now are like too baggy or not quite right. But anyway,
that's key with a leather jacket, is like the perfect fit. It's like the point of it.
What else do you want to know?
Keep going. So you're having a dinner party and you can invite 5 people. Who would you invite? What would you eat / cook? And what do you hope someone turns and asks you at the party? And what do you hope that no one asks you that you really don't want to talk about anymore?
Oh my God, I want to talk about everything. I don't like bodily function humor. I would invite Living or Dead.
Yeah.
I would invite Joan Rivers, Cher. Who else is great? I don't know. Russell Brand seems fun. Joan Rivers, Cher, Russell Brand. I don't know. I can't think. I think that's all I have in my brain right now. Yeah, you're there. You're totally invited. Who else should be there?
Pete Holmes. We love him.
Yeah, but I don't really know him. But I mean, I just like listening to his podcast. Who else? Howard Stern, Larry David. Who else? Who are really cool, badass women that I love? You said Cher, Joan Rivers. They're women that I'm not remembering right now that I adore.
Lena Dunham.
Oh, Lena Dunham is great. Sophia Amoruso is great, but I know them. I'm trying to find other people. I think that's it. That's all I've got for now.
You just have too many cool people in your real life that it makes it.
Oh,
That's a good problem to have.
all right. Maybe. I don't know about that.
What's your favorite part? You grew up in LA. What's your favorite part of living in LA and least favorite part?
Least favorite part, there are so many DJs with bad hats and facial hair riding motorcycles that I think they're annoying. I don't like a sense of entitlement. But the best part of living here is it's not as bad as people think. It's a wonderful place. People come here from all over the place. I love that the weather is wonderful. You can go to the beach or the desert in one day. I love Malibu. I love Venice, surprisingly. I love.
Did you watch that show Flaked on Netflix?
No, is it good?
Yeah, I liked it. It took me a minute to get into it, but yeah, I liked it. You should watch it. When I was in California for the first time when I was there last week or whenever that was, and when I was in Venice, I was like, oh my god, it's like the show.
Oh my God, I have to see the show. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you would like it because you know Venice, so you would be able to know if it's real or not.
well, I love. I don't know. I have so many good friends. I love Laurel Canyon. I love the Canyon Country Store. I love my therapist. He's changed my life
Mm.
insanely. I don't know. My mom lives here. Like, just and there are a lot of good people here, and
It's
it's just
home.
yeah, it's fun. I like the weather, and it's just I don't know. I
Cool.
don't.
What's the best meal you've eaten in the last week?
Oh my God, the best meal I've eaten in the last week. Huh. I've just eaten a lot of pizza this week. Jesus Christ. I mean, I went to a fancy restaurant on one of my final dates with that dude. We had oysters. We shared a branzino fish or whatever. He was very nice with dates. He took me on
Nice.
expensive, beautiful dates. It was very kind. I don't want that to be forgotten. That was very nice of him. I guess having branzino, but I don't know. I'm simple. I like hot dogs. I like pizza. I went to the Hollywood Bowl with my friend like 2 days after the breakup, and we saw Paul Simon.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Snapchat.
Yeah, we saw Paul Simon, and that's a guy I used to date, so that was really sweet. He was like, "We're going to do this, and
He
we're
was on
getting
your
drinks."
podcast, right?
Oh no, why?
Oh,
No,
never
oh no,
mind. I'm
oh, no,
confused.
no, this is a different guy. But yeah, and we got I got soft pretzels and we got hot dogs and beer, and that was like so fun. So I'm like
Yeah.
pretty simple too. There's a place called Pinches or Pinches Tacos on Sunset in Los Angeles, and it's across the street from the Chateau Marmont. And I love fancy hotels, and so I love anyway, whatever. And that they have great tacos, and I love
Cool.
just like being on the Sunset Strip with
Cool. We should
yeah.
go there on our walk and walk
Yes,
around there when
let's
I come
walk
back to
there.
LA.
Yeah, when are you
Yeah.
coming back?
In the fall probably.
Okay, I'll be here.
Yay, cool. Okay, just a couple more. So you really like the Pete Holmes podcast too. Do you have a favorite episode of that podcast?
Oh, I really like the one with Gary Shandling. I think that's really special. I would invite
Mm.
Gary Shandling too. Gary Shandling is another special
Oh
person.
yeah. Oh cool. Okay, and then another little ode to him. Can you tell us the story of the hardest time you ever laughed? This will be practice for when you're on his podcast.
Oh my God, the hardest time I've ever laughed. I don't know. I laughed so hard at like I laughed so hard the other day interviewing somebody for my podcast. Hardest time I ever laughed. I don't even know. I have to think about that. I have no clue. I think I'm always laughing, and the only reason I have really good abs on top, like top abs. My hunky ex-boyfriend just told me that
Uh-huh.
because I think it's because I do nothing, but I laugh really hard. That's my favorite thing to do in the world. All I want to do is be like dancing to rap in my car. I love dancing to rap and laughing super hard.
That's amazing. I need to just laugh more for my stomach purely.
Yeah, it's important.
That's amazing. Okay, one more question stolen from him. What do you think happens when we die? Are you into spiritual stuff? Open to spiritual stuff? Do you meditate?
Yes,
Tell me
I
all
don't
about
want,
that.
I meditate sometimes. I feel like
Do you
I
do
feel like
TM?
no, I mean I don't really know what TM is. I think I do, but I don't want to say I do. I've tried that where it's like I quiet myself and I do a timer for like uh for like 20 minutes, and I just like keep trying to push aside thoughts that come through my brain, and I focus, and I have like I think I had like a word or whatever mantra thing.
Mm-hmm.
But oh wait, I feel like this is what I believe in because I'm
Okay.
very into spiritual stuff, and I feel like I found this message from a bunch of different. I'm not religious, by the way, but I'm just saying, like, I would go to bookstores, or I'd be listening to a radio show, or talking to people, and the same idea would pop up from all these different avenues and all these different channels, and the idea is that yes, we do reincarnate and we are our souls. Like we are just souls here. And like we're it's not a mistake that we're born in the body and in the spacesuit that we are wearing, that we exist in currently
Mm-hmm.
in this lifetime, and that we come to this planet. And maybe this sounds like goofy or weird, and this is or maybe this is
No,
scary to
this
some,
is right up my alley and right up their alley.
but like we come here uh
I'll speak for everyone.
yeah, no, I'm glad it makes me feel happy. Like we come here not because life is on Earth is easy. It's difficult. It's because we're here to learn stuff. It's like I've heard that like when you die, we leave our body, but our soul, like we go back up to wherever it is, and then we decide if we want to jump back down and inhabit another spacesuit and learn and evolve. And that's how souls evolve. And and that's why when you walk around maybe and you meet somebody, you feel like you know them or you've known them
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, maybe you did know them in a past life and they're like a soul something or other to you. But so that's why it's like, yeah, it's never, I don't know. I believe in that. And like that we come here and I feel like my purpose here is to like maybe learn patience and maybe, I don't know exactly what I'm meant to do, but I would like to believe that like, it's not so scary because none of us really die. We just like, maybe you don't remember having existed before, because you can't, but yeah, I don't know. I do believe in reincarnation and that we're here to learn stuff and like life is like going to college. It's like school and that's why
Yeah.
it's not always easy and that yeah, I don't know. So I guess it doesn't have to be so scary. Nothing really matters. It's okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful and comforting. Do you ever listen to Abraham Hicks?
Yes, that's why I like, where he talks about frequencies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I definitely am trying to work on, the people I surround myself with and the words I use. Sometimes I say bad things, like I use the word monster, or it's just I say harsh things. Like I know the word hate has like a low frequency, and I'm trying to like get out of my own way and not be egocentric and not be concerned of like what the guy I dated is thinking of me and annoyed that like we mutually. This is something I talked about with my therapist,
Mm-hmm.
which relates to ego and frequency and stuff like that. I was annoyed that this guy finally realized for himself that this didn't feel right for him because it made me feel like shit, I should have broken up a month before and then he said the words to me. So now I feel like a dork and that means he wins and I lose and I just got all egocentric about it because I was like, I know why it wasn't right for me, but I wanted him to love me and I want him to suffer. Like these are horrible, egocentric,
Yeah.
real thoughts, but they're shitty thoughts and they're low frequency and my therapist said like get out of ego because when you do that you shrink and
Mm.
when you don't think out of ego and you're just like it's all good. I had an experience with somebody and it ended and it's fine and it's all good.
Yeah.
Then you expand and it's like a higher frequency way to be. And so anyway, that's getting back to frequency talk and Abraham Hicks and I
Yeah.
don't.
It's all about the school. It's just another lesson in life school.
Yeah, I struggle with being defensive sometimes or wanting to control stuff and wanting to win. And that's another thing I'm learning through this relationship, through my friends talking me through it, is like they're like, Alexi, stop framing shit as like you won or he won or who's winning or who likes who more. Because like at the core of it, like that'll hurt me in every relationship with friends, with boyfriends, like, and that's something I struggle with because I get a little bit defensive and I'm like, I want to win. And like, that's bullshit. So I've got to continue to do cognitive behavioral therapy on myself and be like, stop it. Don't be like that. You weren't happy. It's not right. Be nice. Everything's fine. Everything is unfolding. That's another phrase my therapist always reminds me of. Everything is exactly as it needs to be and everything's unfolding. Everything is just exactly as it needs to be. And so
Mm.
maybe that's a little bit grounding or
Yeah,
something.
it's comforting at least for sure. That's amazing. Okay, last segment, and I promise I'll let you go. So this is the part where you recommend stuff. So just a couple of things. So favorite movie you've watched recently or favorite movie of all time? Either
Oh my
way or
God.
both.
Oh God. I love the movie Swingers. I think it's a perfect movie. I love the movie Swingers. And I also love a movie from the 70s that might be available on Netflix that always helps me when I'm in a breakup or
Ooh.
it's called An Unmarried Woman. And what a woman ends up getting a divorce. She has like a 16-year-old daughter and she's happily married. And it ends kind of out of nowhere. And she has to like rebuild herself and throw herself out into the world. and
Oh,
it takes
cool.
place. It's such a great movie. It's from the 70s, and I love movies from the 70s because they're more deep and whatever. And oh, and another movie I love is Broken English with Parker Posey. Have you ever seen that?
No, I'm writing that down too.
Oh my God, it's another movie. It's Zoe Cassavetes wrote and directed it. She's John Cassavetes' daughter. And it's just these are like just like three movies that I watch. You
Comfort
know,
movies. Yeah, I
some
have those too.
movies. Yeah, that just like go, oh, everything's gonna be okay. I'm not alone. It's all good. Like you rebuild. And I just love
Cool.
sex. I love Sex in the City and all that stuff or whatever,
Yeah, wait, okay. TV show. That was the next thing that you love or that you always go back to. You already said Felicity,
Oh
Sex and the
God.
City. Anything else?
Yeah, Friends.
Oh, yeah, duh.
So comforting. Friends, I just turned on the pilot last night available on Netflix. Okay, so Friends, Sex in the City.
Netflix should be sponsoring us. Feel
I
free.
know it's
Both podcasts. You can get a
unbelievable.
double podcast sponsor
Come
here.
on. We love you, Netflix. But yeah, so Sex in the City, Friends, old school original Beverly Hills 90210. And I just got into Broad City and I watched every single episode. That's something that the dude I just dated got me into. And I'm so glad I got into it.
Yeah, it's so good. What about song? Is there a favorite song or something you've been listening to on repeat recently or song of all time?
Well, I used to be really into like shoegazy, like Modest Mouse or like Beach House or Father John Misty or just like kind of I do like indie music, but what I'm really into, like everybody else in our culture right now, I am a white girl who loves rap. I just love rap. I love like dirty rap.
Drake's new album?
I have not gotten into that. I've got to listen to that, but I haven't. I think I do like the. It's like sounds kind of calypso-y.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like what's the name of that song? Like what is that?
I know exactly what you're talking about. The like main single from his Views album, whatever that is.
I do like that song. I came on yesterday. You
It's
like
so good.
it? Yeah. So I've been,
yeah.
like
It's
I've been
such a
like
good
turning to that.
summer jam, right?
It really is, and like oh my
Yeah.
God, I love. I mean,
And
it's
that's what
embarrassing.
Drake is for. He's for like the summer jams. That's why I feel like the whole beginning part of that album, it's not Drake to me because it's not like those summer jams. And then because he did it like for the seasons or whatever in Toronto, and so it's like fall, winter, and then finally it gets to summer and it's like that song, which is so
Oh my
good.
God, I didn't even realize it. But yeah, but like that's that song. I'm like, just so you know, I like I loved when Hotline Bling came out. I was like, okay, yes, I was obsessed with that song as everybody else was. But yeah, so I love rap and that's all. That's making me very happy to listen to it very loud because it just like shakes me up and makes me so happy.
Yeah, me too. What about book, either of all time or recently? Anything you want to recommend there?
Oh my God, I mean, I love these self-help books. Let me see my audiobooks. I just read Angelica Houston's second autobiography called oh whoopsies. I read it's called Watch Me, and it's about like the second half of her life where she starts dating Jack Nicholson and she decides to become an actress, and she's kind of a late bloomer because she was a model. She was like, well, she was modeling before. That's an exciting book. It's called Watch Me by Angelica Houston. Right now I'm reading The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. That's all about like
It's a good one.
yeah, it's great. It's like about just detaching yourself from your thoughts and not getting hooked into these like thought spirals. And
Yeah.
that's like a huge part of what we waste our time with and what really hurts us. And like, so I've got to be like, okay, yes, I got to get behind the thoughts. You wake up in the morning and all of a sudden it's like, okay, what's the thought of the day? Oh no, I went through a breakup. I can't believe it. I'm a loser. Oh, it's like, what? No, stop it.
Yeah, that book is
Oh,
so good for that.
so good. So I'm listening to that. I just listened to You Are a Badass by Jen.
Oh, I just downloaded that or
Oh
bought
my
it on
God.
Audible.
Oh my God. I did too. I'm going to listen to it again. It's so good.
Oh, good. I'm
Um,
excited.
and then I'm listening to Not That Kind of Girl and I Suck at Relationships. I've already listened to that twice. So I'm just like listening to all this stuff. Other books,
Do you
can't
think
remember right
being
now.
into self-help stuff is an only child thing?
No, I think it's a modern, I don't know why it would be an only child thing. Why would it be an only child thing?
I don't know. Maybe because we are so introspective because we didn't have brothers and sisters. I don't know.
Oh, that's a really good point. I don't know. Maybe so. I think that could be, I mean, I could understand why only children would be into self-help stuff. I'm sure there are a lot of only children who aren't, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's embarrassing to talk about sometimes, if obviously not on your podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's a safe zone here, but I know that like, yeah, I know. I get shy to talk about this stuff sometimes with guys that I date or whatever because I feel like they won't want to hear it. But like, Yeah, I love all this stuff. I love examining my life, being introspective, thinking my thoughts, but I also have to like balance myself because I don't, and so the thoughts don't hurt me because that's sometimes I have so much pain because of all the thinking that I do. And so I'm just trying to be like introspective to the point where I know how to manage my thoughts and not beat myself up and overthink and believe lies that I tell myself and all that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, totally. So, last recommend question. What's your favorite social media to use, and where can people find you on social media? All of those things.
Oh, yes. Okay. Find me on social media on Snapchat,
You're
Instagram.
amazing on Snapchat. You have a beautiful voice and
Oh,
kitty.
thank you very much. Actually, I'm finding a new home for my kitty because he's out of control and he just needs more room to roam. But you
Oh,
could,
goodbye, kitty.
oh, okay. You can find me on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter at Alexi Wasser, AlexiWasser. And my favorite is, God, they're all great in different moments. And
They'll
I've
all
actually,
be in the show notes.
but they're all great for different reasons. And I've kind of like narrowed down, like, I feel like if I'm really inspired and in a really great mood, I tweet and I Snapchat, and I can be in a great mood for all of them. With like, Instagram, I use as a tool to like let people know what I'm up to, and then I forward that to like my Facebook and my Tumblr and my Twitter. But like, I don't know, I find that like Snapchat is my favorite because
Me too.
I'm
It's
just
so
like
real and raw.
it's so real and raw. You can always save it to your phone, and if you're really proud of a Snapchat, you can just
You can
upload it to your
always Instagram
Instagram.
it. Exactly.
Always Instagram it, and then you get
Yeah.
the people who aren't on your Snapchat on
Yeah.
Instagram to come over. But yeah, so Snapchat all the way at Alexi Wasser, and I've been making custom songs for people. If you DM me your name, I will just like sing a song for you.
Cool.
But not
I
doing
want
that right
one.
now. I'll give you one later on Snapchat.
Yeah,
But happy
that's
surprise.
amazing. Someday. Okay, so final question. It has been the longest podcast ever, but I just couldn't stop. Thank you for hanging out. Final question of this new podcast title, Let It Out. What is something that you are still wanting to let it out? What's the question that you're pondering, that you want to be asked, or you want to answer?
I want to prove to myself that I can make a feature film, and I want to fall in love with somebody that feels like so cozy and safe and happy and trustworthy and sexy and awesome and have great sex and a wonderful communicative relationship. That's what I want. I want love, and I want to love and career thriving. That's what I want. Just those two things.
Amazing. I wish I wish I was a fairy godmother and I could just be like, here you go, here's all of them. But I'm pretending that I am, and you're going to just like manifest the shit out of all of that because you're so awesome. So thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you for
coming on the
having
show.
me.
I'm sorry it was 8,000 hours long, but I just couldn't stop. This is so much fun.
No, my God, please tell me when it's up, and I can't wait to blast it. I can't wait to listen back, and I'll just put it on all my social media that I just told you all about.
Aw, thank you so much. All right, you guys. Well, that's the episode. Isn't Alexi the coolest? Obviously, I really, really like her and think the world of her, and I probably sounded a little bit giddy and fangirly in this episode, but you know what? That's how I feel. So hopefully you enjoyed it too. Congratulations on making it to the end. If you did, tweet at Alexi and I something about your dating life that might be vulnerable or silly, or just that you got to the end. Maybe you don't want to share anything vulnerable. That's cool too. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you want to support the show, best way to do it is to subscribe, share it, leave a review, and you can always shop through Amazon through my website. Helps me, keep doing the show. And if you like it and you want me to keep doing it, that's a great way to support the show. You can also donate, which is super helpful as well. Anyway, I am so grateful that you are still listening right now. If you are still listening right now, it's very cool of you. I'm still rambling. Oh, I remembered what I wanted to tell you. That's why I was rambling. So if you're curious about that date that I went on at the beginning of the episode, if you listened to that part and you didn't fast forward, well, it's pretty funny because I did end up hanging out with him a couple more times after that. But ultimately, Alexi was right when she said that you kind of know everything right at the beginning and it wasn't a fit. So I did the nice thing, but the hard thing, and I told him that he was such a lovely person, because he is, and that it just wasn't right for me right now, and that he deserved someone who was more available and right for him, and that wasn't me. So that's what happened with that. In case you're curious, you might not be. You might have stopped listening ages ago, but just in case you're still here, thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed this episode again as much as I did, and I will see you next week. I'm not going to tell you who's coming up on the show next week, because I will tell you in my email newsletter, which is where I'm going to be sharing a lot of cool things coming up. I have a lot of ideas for this newsletter and what I want it to become. So make sure you sign up for it. And when you do, you get my, I always say this in my Oprah voice, Katie's favorite things guide of all the things that I love in one comprehensive guide for you. So sign up for that. Make sure you're on my email list, and I will talk to you guys there.